Welcome to Tag Talk, the most content-free blaster tag content on YouTube. This is episode 21, and this is all about 46 years later, my birthday event at Northern Alliance Airsoft. Joining me tonight are Boneheed, Hull Titan, Tinkerbell, PT Bloke, Dazzle, and in the centre, our host, Tartan.
Okay, so we are joined by two new players, Pete and Hugo. Normally what we do is we give new players an opportunity to explain how they got into this hobby and meet the questionable group of individuals that is joining us on this call. So, Pete, you got volunteered to go first.
Yeah.
How did you get into this hobby?
Well, really, it was all to do with Hull Titan. He decided that one of his blasters didn't work properly and asked me to have a look at it. And then I had a look at said blaster, fixed it, and then just got hooked. And then it snowballed from there. And now I've just got a lot.
An awful lot, yes.
Yeah.
And I think your first event was one of mine at Foundry.
It was indeed.
One of the first or second one back after the
I
pandemic.
believe it was the second one back.
Yeah.
As again, Hull Titan dragged me across because he was like, "Oh, you should come to this." I was like, "Okay, I'll come." Cool. And then that was it. I just again hooked on the outdoor aspect of it and the indoor aspect of it, and just having fun basically.
Hugo, yourself?
Ooh, Darren's got a vulture.
Hi everyone. How did I get into this? I blame Blind Geek, basically Adam. We were talking, for those who don't know, we worked together, and we were talking one day, and he just started the blue say, "Oh yeah, I do Nerf," and he just started from there. And the first, and to be honest, all the events I went were all organized by Adam. And I like this type of activities, not only the outdoors, like we did the 46-year-old, the 46th anniversary, but also the indoor ones that Adam organized. I just like this. There's no other way around it. I just like this type of activity. I think it's extremely fun. It's a place to relax, decompress, and not take it too serious, to be honest.
Shoot people as well.
Shoot people. I don't want to say that. I know you know. You don't
We
know.
do.
It's all right. We normally do. Am I right in thinking this was your third game as well, Hugo? So you're actually new. Fourth game. Sorry.
Fourth. We did two on Unit 26.
Six eyeballs
One in-
and this.
One leads, and then
yes, I
this
missed
one.
eyeballs. Yeah.
And it was Hugo's first 200 FPS experience.
Yes.
And it was Hull Titan and Tinkerbell's first Dishforth experience. But
I'm not going to talk about the place for now. But as itself, it was great. I did Airsoft a few years ago, like 15 years ago. And
it's all right. We won't hold it against you.
It's just, I still have the gun. But this brought back some good memories of just people taking the mickey out of each other, just having fun.
That's definitely us.
And that's it. I had some bad experience on Airsoft, I got to be honest, and I abandoned a few games because of people just not playing fairly. This one, so far, it's been great. It's just good old fun, and I liked it. And everyone's great. So it's good.
The check's in the post.
The check is over here, my laptop.
So, we were at Dishforth. It's a place where we've been to previously, Northern Alliance Airsoft. Something that we sort of lost connection with Nathan. Spartan, who has been on the show previously, he sort of dropped off the scene there, wife and whatnot there, and we've sort of like the connection with Dishforth has sort of fallen off. And then you decided to reach out, Adam.
So obviously 2024 was the last time I was at Dishforth in the November event, where it was predicted to snow with beautiful sunshine. And that was the Spartans' last event there, as far as I know. And I don't think anyone really wanted to pick it up during 2025 because felt kind of like he might come back. We were standing on his toes.
Well, it also didn't help the fact that they had the fire
but had the
And
fire
everything got
just
burnt down.
before November. So yeah, it was a bit of a strange situation to be in 2025. And we got to November 2025. I was planning the next Unit 26. I was planning some other things, and I thought, do you know what? I did eyeballs for my birthday, my 45th. Games themed around that. I haven't been to Dishforth for a year. I'll see if we can reach out to Nathan and get it. He responded almost instantly. I've put it up on the Facebook events, and we had enough interest immediately to get it sorted. So, for those who've never been, who are watching and who've never been, Northern Alliance Airsoft is set in the outskirts of RAF Dishforth in their old munitions storage. So there are multiple areas, which are like the Big Six, which are 6 large brick-built missile storage units with scaffolding outside that are on a raised platform. There's mud berms either side of those, which are 20, 30 feet high to deflect the blast if he ever went off with the missiles. There's a Big Five, which is like the Big Six, but one of them's collapsed. And then probably half a mile, quarter of a mile from the missile storage is the SBD, the CQB area where the detonators used to be stored, which is 3 concrete boxes with very tight corridors. And that'll come into play when we discuss the game types. But it's quite a unique area. So obviously we don't up north, we don't play outside very often because of the weather, and we've used the quarry, which everybody other than Hugo's been to. We've done Impact Northwest over on the other coast, but we don't have many outdoor sites, so this is one of the few we have, and it plays very differently to the quarry. We reckon you can fit Dishforth 3 times into the quarry, so it's fairly compact, but it's still a lot bigger than Unit 26. 2 of the units in the Big Six make up the same size as Unit 26, so it's much bigger, but it doesn't feel unwieldy. It still, you can get around it quickly. You're not out of combat for a long time. So it's a site I've played at 5-6 times now. And right off the bat, I'll say 200 FPS, which is what the limit we set for this, isn't really my bag. I'll play it. I enjoy it, but it's not my kind of Nerf. I prefer my CQB. But everyone's got really cool blasters. I've got things that I wanted to go and use, like my War Saint that fell apart just before the event. And it also gives you a chance to use smoke grenades, hence the picture, which will be a topic of conversation. It lets us use buoyant firing grenades with 209 primers in addition to our usual cap grenades. And it's a nice site to play at because you can be long range in Big Six, you can be up close in Big Six, you can have a CQB. If the weather had been better, we'd have used the skeleton, which is kind of like a collapsed metal structure in the middle of the site, which has much longer sight lines, but the weather wasn't in our favour. So great site, nice varied things. And yeah, I think we're now going to start using it a bit more. There was Foam on Tour, Fib and Monkeytron did an event 3-4 weeks ago. It was my event. Fib and Foam on Tour are doing another one in 2 months.
July.
Yeah, July.
And so yeah, it's a great site. It's good to be back at it because, like I say, we didn't use it in 2025, and I missed it. So I was, once I'd got there and got the first game under my belt, it was like, yeah, I'd remember why we went to this site because it is such good fun.
I think to add on one of the points you said there, Adam, I get what you say about 200 FPS. It's not everyone's bag, it's not everyone's cup of tea. But I think if we were using 1 joule in that site,
1 joule in there would be,
it would be ridiculous. You'd not be hitting anything. You need the extra power. Having played 300 FPS there as well, the more, the lines are starting much longer and they really demand a bit of a higher power than we normally play.
I think the 200 is a sweet spot.
For that site, yeah.
Otherwise, you end up with quite boring sniper wars.
Yeah.
But to each their own. There's no such thing as a right or wrong answer. It's your answer there. So very quickly, as in like 30 seconds a piece, you two, okay, what did we take? Okay. Just walking around.
I'll go first because obviously it's my event. I took a lot of stuff. The main thing I wanted to take was my War Saint, my S100. So obviously there's now the S400 Zebra.
Yep.
The War Saint came first. It's a big Scar-esque thing, very blocky, and it's got a weird plunger tube that has a hole in it, and it tears O-rings apart. So mine currently is getting about 55 FPS, so useless. So I took mostly, I ran the Spamf for close quarters, Nightingale as a sidearm, and a slab. I've used a slab there before. It's a good blaster, really good because obviously it's a slow rate of fire and normal pump action, but for there where you've only got, so we had 14 players. I think we should say that. We had 14 players, and the slab's great for that kind of lower number but longer distance. It also meant I got to try a new BGUK, which we'll come on to later, because two of these have also got to play with these BGUKs. And you can see by his eyebrows that, yes, the BGUK was good. But yeah, so Slab, Spamf, Nightingale. I used for Mark 1 for a little bit, but yeah, that's about it. And I was also trying a new bandolier rig with 2 grenades, 2 mags, and it worked really well. I'll hand over to Boneheed.
Just because you mentioned S400 Zebra.
Yeah. It's just a pity you can't get it to 200.
Yeah, it's like 245, and that's with the B car on. So I planned on using my Axis Pro, and I took that for the day. But someone, not looking at anyone in particular, our generous host, Mr. Tartan Skirmish, was stress testing it before we started playing and jammed a dart and blew something, and it still doesn't work. So I was reduced to my fib printed.
I
very
will buy
snazzy.
you another one of those if you can't fix that, because that was genuinely not the intention to naff.
It was something that could have easily happened during gameplay anyway, so it's fine. It's got some weird gremlins going on with it, and I've seen other people have them fail as well.
Who had issues with it
so I think it's probably a QC thing. But yeah, fib printed, it's got my name on it. On toss, that was used for most of the game. Similar to Hugo's, obviously, but different colour. And obviously, that's the B car that Adam printed off for me. This thing shoots absolute lasers. It's bang on 200 FPS, and it's an absolute bean machine. I was hitting everyone on the noggin with it without even trying. I got mini Modge about 30 feet away during HVZ, just panic fired, shot in his general direction, right on the noggin. I hit Pete on the head. During that same game from about 5 feet away, I felt a little bad about it, not that much. But it was just an absolute laser firing monster for the entire day. Really easy prime, really easy to use, really nice blaster, really lightweight for its power.
Yeah, and I'm impressed at how easy that prime is at 200. It really is a big
absolutely. Mine's developed a bit of a gremlin where you have to kind of yank the prime to start it off a little bit, but once it's going, it's really smooth. I think that might be possibly a lubrication thing because it only started doing it after it got wet. So it might be that it might just need re-greasing. For CQB, I took a non-battery backup, which is my old faithful Outlaw. This is the purple with green accents. 130 FPS all day. Everyone knows how this works. It's it's an Outlaw.
Modge was running an Outlaw as well.
Yeah. And then for my battery, had I been running my Axis, my sidearm of the trusted Diana. This is this one's first game out. This is the new 2025 one with the different end on it. Did me some absolute brilliant work. There's some really good photos of me and the CQB scaring the living daylights out of Hugo. And yeah, it's a Diana. I don't really need to explain why this thing is amazing. So yeah, next person.
Darren, I believe.
Okay.
I
I'm
only saw
pretty
you
much-
use one thing or two things.
Yeah, I'm pretty much samey. Loadout is belt for mostly. If I'm doing pistol only or want extra mags, then the bandolier comes out, similar to Adams in his picture. That's a really good loadout. It works perfectly. Everything's in exactly the right spot that I want. So that's my go-to loadout setup. Blaster wise, again, pretty much the same as last time. The Vesper for the primary, which is brushless, flywheel, adjustable FPS rate, so you can take it with, if you've got a screen on it, you can take it from 40 FPS all the way up to its max, which I think it tops out at 185.
Yeah, I'm gonna say nearly 200.
Yeah.
And you've
And
got
then
the
cider.
you've got the Gavin Fuzzy B car in it as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got the B car in it, and yeah, it's accurate as it is, but with that in it, yeah, it's pretty much on point as much as you can be, flinging foam at high velocity. And then sidearm, depending on where we are, if we were in the big 6 or the big 5, it was my red and black Diana, which is the version 2. And then in the CQB, it was my old version 1 Diana, which allows me to run a 3S in it, which gets me down to 130 FPS in that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my loadout. Not much really changes from game to game. I have spent.
I think I only saw you using Vespa mainly, but it was
Yeah.
working very nicely.
Well, I have spent, many years and many events going to trying things, changing my loadout, chopping, changing, like everyone else that's been playing it for many years. And for the last, certainly the last 18 months, this setup. Whereas previously, before it was available, it was the SPF and the Diana. Now, with the Vespa come out, it's the Vespa and the Diana, and the SPF is now the backup.
I mean, you found what you like, Darren, and to be fair, with those two blasters, I can wholly understand why you've settled in that niche. It's definitely a good loadout, and you were very effective with it. So if it works, it works.
Oh yeah, this is it. I found. I mean, obviously, I started going down the route of the brushless quite a few years ago with the FDL, but then obviously everyone started moving away from full lengths or long darts, whichever way you want to call them. Which then came about getting the SPF, because I didn't want. I mean, we're more than capable, but I didn't really want to take the SPF apart, the FDL apart, and reprint, because also it was printed.
Yeah, you're never going to get the colour match.
No, it was printed by Project FDL, and they did the dark grey on it is actual carbon infused filament, and the dark green is Paramount military something or other, I believe, and that's only available in America. So I'd have to reprint the entire blaster. So
Yeah.
hence, and then obviously there was a group buy opportunity came up to get hardware, all the electronics and hardware side of the SPF, for slightly reduced costs without the importing fees. So plumbed with that. With Bemby, he got a kit as well, and then printed all the all the printed bits in house.
Hugo?
I think Adam needs to help me with this because I don't know the names of the guys.
Yeah, so
I know one, which is the nailer for the CQB, which Adam 3D printed. I took that one with me, a vest to put some 2 grenades and some mags, and then Adam kindly 3D printed the gun I already showed you before, which he'll tell you the name.
He's got an Ontus like Boneheed.
More
Basically the
sensibly
same
coloured.
setup. The only difference on that is obviously you've got the angled foregrip, and there's a slight tweak on the back compared to Boneheed's. But it's the same B car that me, Boneheed, and Hugo were using. It's a silly spigot with a P car vented into a B car, and I was getting shots that I had no right to get. So, and the same from these guys. Those B cars are ace. And
I think the only thing I would say about it is I need to put a sight on it and zero it, because I was expecting my shots to go lower, and it shoots high, I think.
Yeah,
but,
which is one of the things I was intrigued from Hugo, because obviously you've not used anything else high FPS. How did you find sighting the Ontos?
Like Bonehead said, sometimes it fires a little bit higher than you're aiming, but after the first game, after the first 30 minutes, you start getting used to it.
Because
so
I found the same in the at-home testing, that I was shooting much higher than expected.
But after the first game, it was fine. It was fine.
The other blaster you were using was my Mark II.
The orange one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I'm gonna say I wasn't gonna take it, and it's like, but Hugo will just want to use it.
I gotta be honest, I just love that gun. I just love it.
And there's pictures of you basically same as Unit 26. You've got
just going like that.
In one hand, and Mark II in the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was ace. But yeah, so I'm really sorry I don't know the names of anything. I'm pretty new at this. I'm green on this.
I think it's just more the idea that we wanted to make sure everybody gets a chance to, because
I appreciate that, but I can tell you that I've been looking into Nerf guns now more and everything, and the wife doesn't like it. How much does it cost?
Nowhere near as much as airsoft. That's all you have to tell.
Oh no, that's true. That is true.
Unless you're buying a Vespa.
No, yes, but that is true.
Even
then,
I mean,
or a Saber.
Yeah.
This thing will go up to 300 FPS easily,
and it's £100.
It's a two-finger prime, and I think it cost me 150 with a couple of mags. So, and that was with the big spring included as well. So it's not super expensive, and that thing is just so nice, you know.
Yeah.
That's a 250 FPS prime. It's that easy. So yeah, very much cheaper than other hobbies.
And you can use it to shoot the kids as well.
Oh no, sorry.
You can use it to shoot the kids, and
we'll be editing that out for child services purposes.
Next to the next one. Yep.
I mean, I went with the trusted unicorn, as I run most of the times anyway.
Pete flexing there that he's got upper body strength that none of us can achieve.
I'm
priming a 200 FPS unicorn.
Ethan was priming a unicorn all day as well.
I can prime the 200 FPS unicorn once.
Ethan was actually using my unicorn at one point as well, which had a 1.8 springing. So
I can't prime the 1.8. I'm just too weak.
He really enjoyed it, and then he got hold of the Seagull and loved that even more. And then for like the big six, I was running a Harrier, which is normal for when we do higher
with a bipod on it as well. Don't you? Which blew my mind.
That's so he can put it down and not see an objective behind him.
My intention was to lay on the floor somewhere at some point, but with it being
too wet,
with it being too wet, it was just no chance. The sidearm is the trusty Nightingale. Semi-auto one this time because I do own a full auto one as well, but obviously the full auto would just be far too dangerous in the close quarters. Far too dangerous.
I think we'd say it's a semi-auto only for CQB anyway, so that was a good call.
Yeah. Going back to your bipod, Pete, there is a cracking photo of you. I'm pretty sure you got it lent up on some barrels, aiming down on the long shot.
Stood up right, pallet.
Yes,
and I'm just waiting for someone to come around the corner, which I thought was quite funny. But yeah, and then just 2 grenades on my vest, and then a load of mags, and that was my loadout basically all day.
Josh,
So my main was the X-Shot piston. I just put a longer barrel on it. It
Josh
did
had
it.
extended his PP.
Yeah, it was a very long PP. It didn't
Bad,
quite hit
not bad. About
200,
45
but
minutes in, before we.
yeah.
Look, someone mentions a PP. I'm
We've
going to
only
make a
been
long PP
recording
joke.
30 minutes of that.
Yeah, it didn't quite hit 200, but it was enough for me. So
Hey,
I was able to hit
you were
shots.
you were getting some good tags, I know that.
Yeah.
Didn't change anything else to it. It was just that extended mag. Sorry, not extended mag, extended barrel. Didn't do any internal changes. But I was then able to switch the barrel and use it in CQB if I needed to. If it get into that lower FPS. For my sidearm, I had a Nightingale single shot. Pete was able to help me get some fidlocks to magnetically attach it to my chest. Well, my vest, which was a lot more easier for me than having to have it on my side. Wasn't not a big fan of the leg holsters as my legs aren't that long, so they tend to be a bit of a awkward position after so long.
Calf holster.
Yeah, so the chest holster on the vest was a lot more easier for me to be able to just get that out, and I was able to get some cracking shots with the Nightingale, just straight off, just snap it out and just shoot. I didn't take any grenades because I tend to have the case of I throw a grenade and nothing happens with it, and then I'll take it back and I was like, I'll just drop it. I was like, why is this not working? And then it'll go off.
Yep.
So I've come at the minute. I'm at the conclusion of I'm avoiding grenades. Might change in the future. There's a little project going on with Mr. Curtis, which I'm very intrigued with. So we'll see how well it goes.
There was less grenade use than I was expecting compared to what we have at Unit 26.
Yeah, I was able to see when people was priming grenades to throw as well. I think I was hid behind some pallets and you was on the other side and we was trading shots, and then I saw you like get a grenade and like I was like,
you popped up and got me. It's on video, yeah.
Yeah, I said to Hugo, he's got a grenade, run. And
I did get an absolutely belting grenade kill early on. It was on Big Al, and I can't remember who else, but it was on one of the early games, and they were both in a building, and I just lobbed one of my grenades in, and it went off, and I think it took three people out. But then later on, I'm waiting around a corner. I know for a fact Modge is coming around one of the grass berms, so I arm my grenade, toss it, it lands on the berm, and then Modge proceeds to just run around the corner and shoot me because he saw exactly where it came from, knew where I was.
I was witness to that one because when I saw you going to throw it, and I thought that's not going to go off, and it was a very dainty throw.
How very dare you? I'm right-handed.
It was a very dainty throw, as it just sort of generally sailed over and landed in the long grass. And thinking, yeah, no, I could have seen that was happening because I've done it numerous times.
You're going to put the footage in again of me throwing that grenade directly up and nearly fragging myself from Planet 4.
That's normally my tactic. I normally throw a grenade and it bounces off the steel girders.
Yeah, that was a funny one. I was witness to that one, Adam.
Yeah, I do it all the time, don't worry.
You did it to me at Unit 26. You threw it at one of the cases and it bounced back and fragged yourself. Yeah.
I'm not very good with grenades.
I think grenade use.
Full stop.
Shots fired. I think grenade use in general at this event was probably lesser just because the ground was so soft and squidgy.
Yeah.
It was getting a little bit treacherous underfoot, particularly on the crossovers. As the day went on and it got wetter and wetter, I found it was quite. I was having to like brace myself on things so that I didn't fall over. My boots, I've still not cleaned them. They're a right mess. So it did get quite squashy ground, and that doesn't always work well with those grenades. The air-tac, what are they called? The Fulcrum Meteor ones. They are much better than the old school dong grenades, but they still require a bit of an impact to set the actual mechanism off. So if you haven't already looked into them, Hull Titan, I would suggest
That's what I
trying one
I
out.
looked at that earlier today, and I was having a conversation with Pete because he showed me some yesterday,
Yeah.
and I was like, I swear this is the exact same as what Pete showed me. So
Yeah.
it is. We are looking into him.
It's very similar. The body's the same. I think it's more the firing pin that's different.
Yeah.
As a case, it's not a full circle one. It's more like an oval shape, but with two latches on, and it sits on ledges. And literally,
Okay.
all you have to do is just that, and it'll go off with it, which is I thought was quite cool. So obviously, I'm the same as Josh. I don't really use grenades, but I want to start using more grenades, and I wanted more of a simple grenade to the mechanism to go off with. And then the Meteor was one of the ones that I looked at as well, which I thought was quite cool because it does take very little to go off.
Yeah.
And obviously, with my little one joining us now, she wants to now start throwing.
She'll want her own grenades, yes.
Oh yeah, she's already picked colours and what she wants.
I can believe it.
She's already picked colours for a new magazine and a new Nerf gun, and it's just we've created a monster. Really have.
No, Ethan's wanting his own seagull as well. Because he stole mine, so I didn't even get to use my own.
I'm not surprised. He was hitting some
I'm
absolutely
gonna
good
say
shots.
Ethan used for Seagull Unit 26 and was evil with it. So
Yeah,
It's a very solid platform.
yeah.
Very
So
solid
that's his
platform.
next investment.
There's Green Hornet. There's
Oh.
him in there.
Yeah. More the merrier.
Jason, just playing sort of catch up. We've done everybody. We've given the new player spots for the guys. So, just what did you take to the event?
So I took my usual Nightingale, and I took what else did I take?
you were using an
Protein.
Fortnite SMG that had been modded at some point.
I don't even think I even fired it once, but I did have it just in case.
You were using your protein at one point. I know. I remember that from my footage.
Yeah, mainly protein at Nightingale when I swapped over to a shield, but I just used shield for one round. What else did I use? Unicorn, partly, and I think that were mainly it really. So they were the main ones I used.
The shield was good fun. We've discussed this outside of this, but it's like having that shield because obviously you and Bendy have both got the same kind of size shield, and it takes up a nice, good, chunky body. But whereas Bendy was like fully behind it, you keep doing this around it. I was shooting at your leg, shooting your arm, shooting the head. And I love shields because I never take shield busting stuff with me, even though I set the rules for it. But I just like putting darts at a shield because of the noise, and it causes you to stop and slow down when you reach and shoot. I just love it.
And you also get to watch 6'6" of Bendy crouch down and took himself behind a 3-foot
managed to
shield.
get behind this 3-foot shield. Yes,
Because there's nothing too bendy, right? He's like stick thin, right? You know, he's like, yeah, he's a very thin chap. Okay, so yeah, it's quite funny because I'm like Jason. I just sort of use it to sort of roughly cover my body and make people take shots at my feet or take shots at my head. And yeah, that's fine. So it was nice to see the shield come out. I think I only got a couple of shots of you when you were walking away from me with it, but I'm pretty sure I managed to get a shot of you actually pulling out that SMG that was mentioned there, the purple one. Yeah. So weather, yeah, it was a bit wet. It was a bit overcast.
it
was a
was.
bit
So
miffed.
It was moist.
the weather forecast had been very changeable over like the week before. It started out like maybe it'd rain, maybe it'd be sunny, then it was definitely rain, back to maybe not rain. And it got to the night before and it'd been raining here. Nathan had let me know it'd been raining. It's like, yeah, it's going to be wet, but we'll see how it is. We set off from Leeds in absolute downpour, got to the A1, and it just stopped. So we drove up the A1, no rain. Got there and it's like, yeah, the site's a little bit wet. And I'd wanted to use the skeleton for a kill confirmed because obviously nice lines of sight, and you've got that full kind of circle of the road. But there was no way I was playing in that grass in that rain or that because the grass was wet. Obviously, it hasn't been cut yet there. So if you look at the pictures from Fib's event in April, the grass is quite low. It shot up probably a foot since then in 3 weeks. So
Yeah,
the
about that.
grass was very wet. And obviously, like Boneheed says, the crossovers are always muddy, even in the driest weather. They were very slippy. But we only had 2 falls. We had Spectre went down on front of his Vespa and bust that, and Fu went backwards, I think, at one point. Legs in the air.
Ethan Fall didn't get injured, but he got all muddy.
Ethan fell backwards running away from me at HVZ because he was going up one of the berms, and I actually said, "This is why Adam said don't go up them because
Yeah, I almost slipped down one, but I managed to surf down it. I was quite surprised at. I managed to stay on my feet.
Did you always kind of pull some cool move?
Yeah.
I think what didn't help as well, there were quite a few sort of tennis ball sized rocks around that aren't normally there.
I'm going to say that is one thing I was going to bring up is obviously there was more environmental hazards. So they've obviously tidied up a lot of it. So the kind of twigs and branches that normally on the roadways are all gone. But certainly in the CQB, there was a lot of kind of bramble vines hanging down. And like you say, some big rocks. And I suspect what's happened is they've put them in to solidify the banks maybe on the crossovers, and it's just rolled down.
The weather's just loosened them out, and they've rolled out. Green Hornet threw a few of them back into the berms just to kind of get them out of the way. And had I thought of that, I would have done the same. But I think that's what ultimately Spectre tripped over.
Yeah.
Because he twisted his ankle at one point. So I think potential injury there. But the weather wasn't exactly the best, and that caused problems with things.
Yeah, it stayed dry for most games. It rained at the end of the CQB games. It rained over lunch. But obviously then everything was wet. And I know my blasters got absolutely soaked. My diamond back was out in the open and got soaked. So my diamond back is no longer working.
This is the one thing for me because I was carrying around the camera equipment. It was a case of, yes, let's make sure everything is as dry as possible. There's one of the things where because when the rain started, we were going back for lunch and it was quite nicely timed. If it was a case of, I'd either have had to mock up a sort of cover out of a plastic bag for it, or I'd have just went, I'm not going to try photographing in this one because I don't want to. I did bring down the 400mm lens I'd borrowed from my mate Rob. I didn't actually use it. I used just my 2 lenses that I've got, the 18-55 and the I think it's 55-200. And they were really, really good. But I did bring it on the basis that if we were going to be in something like Skeleton, it would have been really nice to do that.
Yeah.
I because that is not my lens, I would have been immensely reluctant to use it in anything
in the rain. Yeah,
weather.
That makes sense.
So it was kind of fortuitous, shall we say, that you didn't do anything in the Skeleton area, and I just moved around a whole lot more with the 55-200, which worked really well for Big 5 and Big 6. I used the short one for the CQB area. And yeah, it was fine. It's like I said, I think it was just timely how the rain sort of came on right at the end of the
so it rained over lunch
back, and that was fine. So yeah, I didn't have any issues with sort of mobilizing around the place. I did almost repeat Bendy's fall at the Big 5 because I managed to catch my foot on the same thing that Bendy took a massive tumble on. I didn't fall.
I didn't realize Bendy had fallen.
No, he didn't fall this one.
In a previous event. When he landed Diana first.
Yes.
But it was the same thing. So I think it's probably worth mentioning Nathan about maybe trying to get that lifted and relaid that slab. But again, the guys got a massive amount of work to do just to keep it as a usable site.
Yeah.
So yeah. Any other comments on the weather?
Not really weather related, but talking of falls, I did once again, as is tradition, manage to clonk my GoPro on a low hanging doorway that wasn't a doorway. It's basically a hole cut out of the bricks. I had to duck under, and I know how tall I am, but I don't know
But
how
you
tall I
forgot
am
to
with
count.
a GoPro that far off the top of my head. So yeah, once again, clonked on the GoPro. It didn't dislodge it this time though. My footage is all relatively good for a change.
No, mine got dislodged at some point, and I think Tartan had to tell me to repoint it. So
Yeah, because yours was like proper like
It was-
this guy, right?
I
what's
think it
when
was
they were looking at the
Tinkerbell
footage,
shot
the
me.
footage is like at 90 degrees to viewing angle. Like, how the hell did you manage to do that, Sunshine? You know,
We call that the Boneheed angle, because that's probably what I manage.
yeah. I think Hornet as well. You managed to get some footage as well. I think, didn't you? I will apologise. I haven't even had a chance to look at the files.
Got some of it's. I don't think my camera worked well on some of them. I think I must have pressed one of the wrong buttons. So I think one or two, it plays the sound, but not all of it. So I don't know what happened there. So I don't know if it got wet or damp.
I brought the ironic thing is I actually brought my GoPro along. I should have just handed you the GoPro and you know what you're doing with it, and have to, because it would have been fine.
And
'cause,
that's
like I said, it's just
something we've discussed before is having spares. So it's like for
Yeah.
the price of the Action Cam 4, I might pick one up just so I can like hand it to Hugo, hand it to Josh, so we've got an extra angle. And if Darren had remembered his,
I was just about to say I could potentially bring mine and people could use mine, but that would involve me remembering it.
Yeah, I think
the
that
thing is, though, if you get one for Hugo, you have to get a second one for Hugo to face back, so that we can get Hugo's outstanding war faces. Because so many of those
on the
pictures,
blaster, yes.
so many of those pictures have got Hugo with his absolute brilliant, Full Metal Jacket war face going on, and
also, and we discussed this on a previous tag talk. What the Hugo's first unit 26 was after like the first or second game, and he came back to the spawn point
grin.
and he got the biggest grin on his
Yeah,
face
yeah.
I have ever seen. on
I've
another
got
human
the picture up here, and it's like, yes.
being. It was fantastic. So yeah, I think that's a good thing. One thing that we didn't plan as well as we probably could have was to split the teams a little bit more, because I know when we started off, myself and Blind Geek were on the same team.
And Bendy had a camera on our team.
And Bendy
as well.
had a camera on our team as well. Green Hornet was on the opposite team, but if we'd have planned it a bit better, we could have like split it 2 for 2 to get a bit more symmetrical footage. On the subject of weather, though, one thing that did affect my camera, circulating it back, because it was raining, I didn't have my media mod plugged in. So there are lots of scenes from my footage where you will hear me breathing like an asthmatic, overweight beetle.
Mine does that all the time,
yeah.
yes.
Don't worry about it.
it's the one downside to it is that the media mod is great for removing.
Fat man sounds.
I was trying to be polite, but yes. We'll go away. Fat man audio, yep, sure. But the trade-off is that I'm sure that the GoPro is inherently waterproof up to a certain thing, so therefore in a shower it's absolutely fine. But the media mod, because it runs straight in, I think it essentially removes the water. I mean, don't get me wrong, you're not sticking it underwater. I think you'd be hard pressed to. In the rain that we got, I'm pretty sure you could run the media mod and not worry too much about it. I would just say I would rather not, because it's like an £80 unit that you don't want to break. So, I'd suffer fat man audio than have an £80 unit go kaput, so that's fine. Yeah. Okay. Anything else to say about the weather?
I don't think it affected me that much, apart from when it was in the CQB, the ones that were stood outside. We was waiting to go in. It was like, oh, it was getting the wind was getting to you then, and
A bit cold, yeah.
Yeah, I think because we were stood around quite a while before that game, I think being stood around at the spawn point, because we did 1 in 1 out at the CQB, by that point the wind had kicked up, and when you were you actually went begging for people to die so that you could go back in away from the wind a little bit.
Yeah.
But again, that's not something that we could really control or change.
No.
It was just the circumstances. I am quite thankful that it didn't rain heavily, because there was only one point where I thought, I'm going to put my Diana away now, because this is a very expensive blaster and it's electronic, and if the water gets into it, I don't know whether I'll be able to fix it, and it was playing up towards the end of that game a little bit, so I ended up chucking that in my DZ and then my dump pouch, and then thankfully the rain had stopped by the next game. But yeah, I would have probably used a slightly different loadout had it not been as wet as it was, and had Tartan not broken one of my blasters.
So that's going to be a recurring theme for the rest of my life, isn't it? You know.
Absolutely.
It's like Hannah Walls.
Yeah. Okay, so on to the actual games itself then. So, Adam, you've got the running list of what happened.
Yep. So we didn't play too many. Obviously, I've always been there under Spartan's games, and Spartan had a kind of usual pattern of games, usually involving pushback. What I wanted to do was bring my CQB games to Dishforth and see how they behaved. So the first one we ran was Pinger HVZ. So this is the game we almost always run at one of my events. Gives people a chance to learn the venue. So everyone takes timers. Some of those timers are live. If your timer is live, it goes off. You become a zombie. This one, I brought the brains back. So a brain would stun a zombie for 30 seconds. And we brought a huge 250, 300 mil syringe for curing a zombie, turning him back into a human, which Tinkerbell got done. So the interesting one for me on this was obviously in CQB, it's very panicky, very quick, and you can flank around people really easily, get caught, and it's quite a quick game. This one, I think it was Tinkerbell, Ethan, and Green Hornet who had the timers.
Yeah.
And it was probably 6-7 minutes before there was a tag. Before they caught somebody. I think it was me trying to get a grenade to catch Green Hornet. So it played very differently from normal Pinger HVZ. And obviously, one of the ways you normally get caught in CQB is you've mag dumped somebody to stop them, or you've not tracked your reloads. Because of the size of the venue and the longer engagement, people were able to check the mags, make sure they were topped up. So it felt as a zombie much harder to get anywhere because people were better prepared. I actually really enjoyed that aspect because it didn't feel like a normal Pinger HVZ. It felt less frantic, more actual. I can see why Campers HVZ suddenly appeals because it's not that frantic HVZ. And as much as I love my frantic HVZ, I really enjoyed this one. Also helped that I was on the spam. My spam is quite nice compared to Boneheed's. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. What I would probably have done is set a fourth timer, probably like 4 or 5 minutes, just so when people had bunched up a bit and were holding zombies off, it could go off there. But hindsight is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, I think for me that was I see what you're saying with it was less frantic. But I think what that did introduce is it made it more difficult for the zombies because
absolutely.
I don't think there were enough of them, if I'm perfectly honest, which you've just said yourself, but also because it was a lot more spaced out, I tended to find that humans were grouping up and just sort of basically having a firing squad for the zombies. So it took a while, and eventually I just sort of gave up because you were approaching on me and I didn't want to shoot you at 200 FPS. I could have pulled my outlaw, but I was just like, do you know what? We need more zombies. Yeah. I'm gonna take one for the team.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll agree with that, Boneheed, because like with me being one of the first ones, it was difficult getting to the first person because I walked around the corner and saw 4 of them. I was like, one of them's gonna shoot me.
Shoot you,
Whichever way you look at it, one of them's gonna get me. Whether I get one of them or one of them get me, it just made it like a little bit more interesting on the zombie side of things. Because then when I did get shot, food did go, ha, dish, with a big syringe. And I was like, okay, I'm cured.
Yeah.
So I got it from both sides, which was A bit weird, to be fair, but
That's what she said.
I think one thing that people forgot as well is that they only stunned for 4 seconds, but then was immune for 6.
Yeah.
And it was when there's 2 of them, 2 zombies near you, or if you're in the corner of one of the buildings and you're like, oh no, if you was in the far corner and the only way you could go is left or right, and you shoot one, you've got 4 seconds to get past them, and then 6 seconds to like get away as fast as you can away from before you can get them again. Because and the more zombies you got,
which
it
is
happened.
It's where grenades really shine. Because grenades will tag an immune zombie. So it's one of those things where even if you're not necessarily a big grenade user, they have a unique selling point in that game type. Because you can go, right, well, you're immune for 6 seconds, but you're not immune to this. And that'll give you that. I mean, yes, it requires you to have the foresight to go, right, I need to do this, pull things out, arm them, and be ready to go. And in a frantic CQB environment, that'd be hella chaotic to try and do.
I always keep one ready for CQB.
In the bigger environments with longer sight lines, you could theoretically plan your move, because in principle, even if you're stuck in a corner, you've got, in principle, 3 routes to go, left, right, and into the building. So yes, it's not great because you could be reducing your sight lines and get jumped as soon as you walk into the building, but unless you're getting mobbed by everybody, you've got options. But again, it's what you feel comfortable doing. I will echo Adam's thoughts as to that. I'm used to the chaos of like FTD zombies and CQB zombies, and that's why it doesn't really appeal to me. Campus zombies, on the basis that much longer sight lines, much more options. I'm not saying I'm for it. What I'm saying is I'm reconsidering my opinions on it on the basis of the first match. Because yes, I did think like I'm trying to run around and catch people to take shots off them, to take pictures. I'm like, where the hell is everybody? And there's like a few times I'm just catching this occasional zombie wandering around, like because they've all ran off. And I'm like, okay, this is clearly much.
They were all on the other side, and it was generally me wandering into Green Hornet's line of sight, and it's like, oh, I need to move.
You did manage to catch my favourite photo from that group in HVZ, though, the one that I've titled "Zombie and My Arse," where I'm like, from behind.
Yeah, because every photo gallery needs to have you looking stupid.
Most photo galleries that include me do make me look stupid. That's just you see my face.
Yeah.
Was it Ethan or was it Minimodge?
Which one?
The second zombie.
Minimodge.
I think it was Minimodge.
It
was Minimodge that I tagged at about 30 feet right on the head. A brilliant shot I would probably never do again if I tried. I did like that game. And HVZ is different every time we've played it. Yeah. I don't know whether we mastered it for that particular environment there. There's definitely tweaks.
More zombies would have helped.
Yeah.
So there was one time with Spartan, there was only, I think, 6 or 7 of us, and we only used one side of a big 6. That plays differently as well.
I was going to say maybe limiting it to like 4 of the buildings or 3 of the buildings might have helped, because then it was a bit more closed in. You're restricting the openness of it then, but there's definitely things we could try to make that a different experience. But it was still an enjoyable game. I had fun in that.
When the zombies started working together, I shot Adam, ran past you, and then Fu was waiting right around the corner. He knew what he was doing.
You get that with CQB though. I've had that. I've shot someone and gone round the corner straight into Green Hornet. In fact, I think there's a slow mo of that at Unit 26.
There is.
I've tagged. I think I've tagged Adam with Diana, and then Jason's just like, yep, there you go.
There's a great shot. There's a great shot of Hornet scaring the crap out of me at District 23. Because I walk up the stairs, turn around, and you lunge out of it, okay?
Oh,
and it's like, and I thought, wait, hold on, right, go back a bit, right, take the shot, okay? Because it was such a, it was such a jump scare moment that was brilliantly done. Thinking if I'd been a player, that'd have been me out, because it was so brilliantly executed. But I think the angle was it just wasn't quite right. So like back up a bit, right? Okay, right, that's fine. But it's a proper, it's like yes, that's what jump scares and ramp corner jumping as a zombie should be like. Just where people just like they've not got a chance to even react to that sort of stuff. So yeah. Anything else, or shall we move on to the round 2?
Like I say, I enjoyed it because it was not my usual H3Z, and I mean that's one of the things is it's trying something and something we know in a new venue and seeing how it plays, and it played very differently. But yeah, next game was Seek and Destroy. So obviously we've talked about Seek and Destroy several times. This is the game type we came up with for Unit 26. And normally you are given a name, and that is the only target you can tag. We tested it at an eyeballs, which we ran for some people at work, for the Hull guys because they've never been across to iCombat yet, or hadn't over time, I should say. So in this one, all the names are in a bucket in your spawn point, and every time you respawn, you change your name, and that becomes a totally different Seek and Destroy experience. So we didn't do a tag talk for the last Unit 26, but Spectre hated Seek and Destroy there. I think he'd got
Ethan got him.
Ethan got him, and possibly Fu maybe. He had 2 people who were quite used to the venue and able to kind of track him down well.
Yeah, he wasn't able to get into the middle at all.
Yeah. So Spectre came away from Unit 26 hating Seek and Destroy. But here, like I say, because you were constantly changing names and the long line of sights, it played massively different. It played different to how it was at Eyeballs. Because Eyeballs is such a compact venue, you could generally know where somebody was. Here, you could wander around for 5 minutes and never see your target. And
I spent a good 5 minutes chasing Jason round the outside.
Yes, I've watched your footage and I've watched my footage of it, and you are like one building away from him all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I did enjoy this version. I know Spectre was absolutely pissing glitter during this game because he loved it. He thought it was brilliant because you never knew. Unlike previous versions, and we've discussed that this game is absolute lightning in a bottle. It was fantastic that first time. The second time, one of the times it wasn't as enjoyable. I think that's the time where you got the traitors and some of us didn't have targets or weren't a target. And then the time after, again, it was absolutely fantastic. This one, I think, so far is one of my favourites just because you never knew who'd got you. You know, it was always that.
And it became a psych game.
Yeah.
So you could point your blaster at somebody, even if you didn't have them, and somebody would just shoot off because they didn't want to risk getting tagged. For me, Owl had me for about the first 10 minutes before he got tagged. And he just kept, anytime he saw me, he got a perfect bead on me. It's like he got my foot, he got my arm, he's got my blaster. And I was loving it because it was one of those, there's something green, I'm hit, I'm respawning. But it meant I was swapping my target. I had Ronan, Tinkerbell, I had Ethan, I had Green Hornet, I had Hugo, and it was every time I picked up a name, it's like, oh, I'm going to enjoy this one. So yeah, I wasn't sold on this game type in Eyeballs swapping the names because it was too easy to find your target. Here, I think it was the best version we could have played.
Yeah, I'd echo that, and I think that's it. Made the game better in this particular environment.
Yeah.
It probably wouldn't work somewhere smaller, like you say.
No,
but
I'm going to say Unit 26 or Eyeballs. It wouldn't work this way. The other thing for me is I was running the slab this time, and I was getting shots that I had, like I say, no right to get with my eyesight. Because that's super big. That B car is just brilliant.
Yeah,
I'll agree with that one.
all hail the B car. There was an excellent moment during this game, and Tinkerbell will probably remember this, where I got Tinkerbell to start off. That was the first name I took out of the bucket, and I went up to like the second building on the right hand side of the big six, and I saw someone coming towards me, and I was like,
Is it?
and then I was like, that's definitely him. Bang! And I don't think he'd realised that I'd got him, because even I didn't realise I'd got hit. I knew I'd got, but I didn't realise that was him. And I couldn't remember what he was wearing. Bit of a brain fart, and I just waited ages and ages and ages. And he must have took about 10 steps towards me before I was like, "Oh yeah, that's him!" Bang.
What's worse, if you watch your footage, you have a conversation with him.
I do, yeah.
It's something like, "Oh, hi, Pete. Who have you got?" And then you go, "Wait, I've got Pete." Pop.
Bang.
And then another epic moment from that game, towards the death of it. I come round the corner and Foo's like, "Have you got me? Have you got me?" I'm like, "No, I've not got you." He's like, "Oh, good, I've got you." Bang. It's like, you're supposed to shoot first and ask questions later, Foo, for man.
Dazzle did the exact same thing to me. He kept looking at me, and I'm like, "Is he done he?" And then he just gets me, just bang. I'm like,
I mean, tactical brilliance, and it brought something new to the game. But I was just like, I felt so betrayed.
I did the same. I can't remember who was, but I did the same. So, "Oh, that's my target. I'm just going to approach quietly." I just did.
I'm gonna say, I think you did a hand tag on somebody because
I did. I can't remember
them.
who it was. It's like, to be honest, I was a little bit tired already. Not that I'm the fittest person, but I love doing hand tags, like running after people. Just go, "You're dead. Go on, go." People are not counting on that, and it's brilliant. But yeah, I did the same.
I personally prefer the intimidation tag that we did at the quarry, and Tinkerbell wasn't on the call for this one. But I remember at the quarry, I'd got my seagull with the Dong B car on. And I just stuck the barrel through the window of the building. And Pete was like, "Oh, I surrender. I'll take it." He just...
It's on the camera, but the angle is not quite right because the thing.
Yep.
But yeah, it's the idea that you are so happy the idea of just sticking the barrel through it. I'll take that. I think this is the one where I'm pretty I can't remember exactly because there was so much going on. I'm pretty sure this is the one where Hugo beamed me right in the
yes, it was.
of the glasses.
Yes.
I walked around just across the crossover and just pop up. I just
you
right
just
there,
came out. You just came out,
right
and I
in the
just fired.
center of me. Like that is it's like in terms of shot accuracy, fantastic. In terms of like surprise, like there's no way my name's ever going to be in the bucket. Adam, I swear to God, if you do that for the next time I'm there, I'm going to kill you.
Don't do that.
Josh, was this one where I put the barrel through the hole, or was that the next
No,
game?
I think it was the dice flux. Yeah, that was terrifying.
One thing I will suggest for next time, David, though, if you're taking photos,
and
high-vis vest and like a balloon attached to your back or something, just so that people know where you are at all times.
Cowbell.
Yeah.
And Bendy was hiding behind you at one point, and I say in my footage, "Is that a war crime?" Because he's essentially hiding behind the war photographer. That's against the Geneva Convention.
You done that at kill factories. You've got no right. I'm sitting there taking shots. I think it's Green Hornets up on the bank with the shield, and you're near enough using my shoulder as a perch for your seagull or your Harrier, whatever it is. Like, that's the hypocrisy. Thy name is Boneheed, right? Okay?
It's fine when I do it, but when Ben does it.
No, I absolutely will. I think that the high-vis vest is definitely a necessity. I did resort to walking around going "fat man walking through" or something along those lines. Like instead of TBRs, hot stuff coming through, it was fat man coming through, and people generally got the idea that I was in the area. But yeah, there's a few times where there's a few times where shots whizzed past my head with people just because I was simply wearing what was it like.
Normal clothes.
I think you're wearing that hoodie you've got on now. Yeah,
this hoodie and this baseball cap, you know. So yeah, it's entirely reasonable that people would have thought I was actually a valid target. So and the thing is, I don't mind getting shot as the photographer. It's just part of what goes in the nature of events there. But
you do realise you're on video admitting that, right?
Yeah.
I
said that at the time. I don't mind. I
Yeah.
don't mind. It's one of the thing is, as I've said, you can't go to one of these events and participate and then complain of getting shot at. Right?
Yeah.
It's entirely stupid. It's entirely just redundant to say, "Oh, I didn't like getting shot at." Well, didn't he take part? It's like you have to be willing to take the hits. You have to be willing to have the falls. You have to be willing to break the gear. If you're going to participate in this sort of thing. But yeah, the highlight for the terms of getting shot by somebody, definitely Hugo's drilling me square on between the eyes. It was such a perfect
that was
shot.
the shot first and ask questions
Yeah.
like that. Sorry,
Aye.
it just came out of the blue.
It was brilliantly done because it's just a Warface. Like, no, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, yeah. So yes, anybody else? Because we've got a couple of folk sitting quietly there. Anything on Seek and Destroy?
Yeah. I was gutted that I got Darren right at the last minute.
He was literally chasing after him, trying to find him.
I saw him and then chased after him, and that's where the Tinkerbell came in. He was like, "Oh, chase me, Tinkerbell!" And then the rest of the
Have you
day,
seen the Instagram post?
Yeah.
Of Big Al.
God,
Yeah.
Which it's literally on camera. It's amazing.
You could just
Hey,
hear
Tinkerbell.
Dazzle just shouting it.
that was the only time that I got his name out of the bucket, and I was like, "Great!" Adam shouted like, "There's 2 minutes left," and I was like,
20
"Where is
seconds left or something like that.
he? Where is he?" Then
in
he ran
terms
up.
in terms of observing it, I do feel that was the one that there was a lot more. I mean, it just felt like that one was the one where people really just sort of recognised that it was going to be a vastly different experience from a normal Nerf match, and they went into it. And you could see who you go, or people are, the idea that you point the gun at people and run off, it was the psych value definitely played into it very well. And I think that's something where I would say definitely keep that. I would be interested in taking the change name on Respawn and adding into it the traitors.
Yes.
Yeah, because I think that to me would be the natural evolution of that game type. You need to have it for something big enough that you can actually try to do traitors in a CQB environment. I think it's a bit difficult, but try to do traitors in a larger environment like Big Six. I think it's got a great potential because you could feasibly tag somebody and never be seen.
Yep.
I think if you did that, you'd have to have the traitor be the only person that doesn't swap.
Yeah.
And obviously, they'd have to make the motion if they were back at base and back at spawn, and someone was there with them. They'd have to make it look like they were taking a name. But yeah, I think that would add a little bit of complexity to it and add a little bit of a, because I like the idea of the traitors. I just think we've not perhaps got it quite right yet.
Something we need to figure out. Yeah. Now I do believe Darren was talking of running Seek and Destroy at July's event.
Oh
yes. Yes, I'm going to borrow that idea. I think that was I did enjoy that immensely, especially with the swapping the names every time you respawn. I think that will go down very well.
It stops you from basically just recognising this person's got my name and you're going to try to actively avoid them.
Yeah.
It leans into the psych out value.
And the other thing was you didn't know who was going to have you, and potentially 2 people had you. I did consider putting 3 sets of names in so you could potentially being chased by 3 people. I thought that was a bit overkill for 14 players. But if it had been 30 players, yes, your names had been in 3 times.
Right, what else came after that then?
Next game was Dishforth.
Sorry, can I just interject? At this point, I'm going to bail out because I am up at 4 a.m.
Ooh.
So I'm going to bid you all farewell.
I'm going to say
Bye, Darren.
Enjoy, and I will catch this when it's published.
Cool.
See you later.
See you later, Daz.
See you later.
Right, let's talk about him.
No, so yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
So, third game was Dishforth. Now, Spartan used to do a dice game with large inflatable dice, which are obviously easier to flip, but can also be flipped by the wind, which in Big Six can get quite nasty. So what I did 2024, early 2025 was I bought large foam dice dice which are like a foot wide, so nice, decent size, but aren't easily flipped by wind or darts. And I got 3 in red, 3 in blue. Mainly for the idea of using them as a big six, and never got a chance. So we had 3 on each side. So there was red team one end with their dice down the same respawn route, and blue team on the opposite corner on theirs. So it was worth 1 point if you had it on your number. Winning team from the previous round was scoring a 4s and 6. The other team was scoring 1, 2, 3, 5. Keeping the 46 thing. 1 point if you had it, 2 points if you had it on another team's core of dice. It's Dice Flux is something we've run at Unit 26. I think we've run it at Eyeballs. It's Flux, but with less points to score, but also something much more physical to turn around than just one of the mats, which can generally flip during like running past them. Dice, obviously, you've got to think about what face you're turning it to. So from my point of view, I think we were on the losing side, red team.
Yes, you determined that even though the Sequel
The
Destroy
scores were
the scores were
basically the
pretty much
same.
equal, but we determined that people had forgotten to press the buttons because I'd forgotten myself. I'd completely ignored it quite a few times, and then I was like, "Oh shit, I'm supposed to press buttons," so I started then whacking away.
And one thing I did say throughout the event was it's chill.
Yeah.
We're not there to track who's winning or losing or make anything. It was just there for friends at my birthday. So, but from my point of view, I had a great moment with Hull Titan where on the chicane there's a little crack. For anyone who doesn't know, by what I would call room 6. So the second side closest to the skeleton. There's a little kind of chicane where it goes like that. There's a crack in one of the panels, and I put my barrel through.
A nice, lovely hole that you can poke. You put
Well,
your eyes
sure.
through,
I
and
can
also
say-
a barrel.
Your eyes there, and the barrel is literally on your eyeball, and it's like.
It's a good thing I wear glasses, because if you did pull that trigger.
The thing is, I knew you were there, and I was just going to go bang bang, but just hearing you go and pull back was.
I just looked, saw it. I was like, "That's a barrel." Shit.
There's a reason we wear iPro, children.
Pro, yes.
Yeah, and then I was like, "Oh God!" And then that's when you I saw you with a grenade. When you was
Yes.
getting a grenade off your bandolier, I was like, I think Hugo was with me at this point, and I was like, Hugo Bunny's got a grenade. If we get round the corner, they won't kill us. And yeah, no, that was brilliant. And he was very lucky on that one, because I think the 4-6s won that one, didn't they?
They did,
Yeah.
because you got. I don't know what happened. It was just
So
I think I just struggled to get anywhere.
Yeah.
the way that, because I was one who flips it the last 20 seconds, because we had all of our line on the numbers we had, and originally I tried to get your spawn, and there was not a chance. I got it once, and then Will and Modge got me, so I was like, "Well, we'll go for the other side." And then there was Bendy, Will, Modge, and I believe Boneheed, because I got Boneheed with a Nightingale through the building.
Yeah.
Like I
that
shot
was
through the building and got it, and I was very happy with that shot.
I'm pretty sure there's footage of that, and I'm like, oh, good shot, because you can just sort of there's like a cutout in the back of the building that's like waist high, and you were sort of crouched down and just popped me through that hole.
Yeah, and
not stood.
I should
He
not
said
crouched and not stood.
Yeah. Because Josh is so small.
Yeah.
It makes Jimmy look tall.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure Adam shouted there was either 20 or 30 seconds left, and I went in with the Nightingale. I'd been took out literally about 20 seconds before, so I knew roughly who was around the area, and there was Boneheed out front, Bendy, and then Will and Modge inside, and I just went bang, 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 bang with the Nightingale. None of them knew I was there. And then I flipped it, and then Bendy had got out and came running back, and he just didn't get back to it in time. And he was like, "How did you manage to flip that over?" It was very close call.
Yeah.
I can say we ran a fairly short game for Flux because in Flux it is literally the last minute scores most of the points. So
Yeah, I mean, I spent most of that game protecting our side, but trying to get over to the other side, and I just didn't manage it at all. I don't think there were too many well placed players. Just as soon as I tried to go over any of the crossovers, just pop out and take me out. And then Josh, obviously, with that cracking shot towards the end of the game, they just outplayed us in that game. I think. Yeah, it was close in the previous game, but this one was an absolute whitewash.
it was for me it was a so-so game. I like Flux. I like Dice Flux. This one there was nothing wrong with it.
Mhm.
I wasn't playing to my best ability, but at the same time I wasn't trying to play to my best ability. I was having fun.
Yeah.
I would echo that. I mean, as you know, I don't play the objective. I just shoot people. I was shooting people. I was having fun doing it.
Yeah.
So
The thing is with any version of Flux, no matter how long your timer is,
it's
everything up to everything up to the last minute is basically shoot people. It's only to do with the last minute.
Shoot and defend.
And even then, it's like the last 30 seconds. So this is why I'm generally in favour of shorter Flux rounds. I know we've done the rapid fire Flux at Nerf Mania.
Quick fire, yeah.
Yeah. And that to me was a pinnacle example of how Flux sort of should be played, which is short rounds and therefore constant pressure. Because otherwise, you can basically just sit back at your spawn point for like 90% of the time, and then in the last bit, just run out and do the grab for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm generally in favour of shorter Flux rounds. But it is one of those things where playing the objective only really matters in the last minute or so. You know. Other my would may vary.
No, I would echo that. Yeah.
I
say,
like. Yeah.
there was nothing wrong with the game type.
No,
I just wasn't playing to my best ability, but I didn't care because that venue is such good fun to try and break out of when you are pinned down because you can go all the way around, you can go over one side, you can go over that side, you can go around and over another side. There's so many paths, but I was just struggling to get over any one of them because the blue team were just on fire. The PP was doing a marvelous work. I think you were on the Harrier at that point, Tinkerbell.
I was, yes.
And your Harrier is deadly accurate. Hugo was on the on toss and just taking sniper shots right, left, and centre. Al was on his.
Al had got his PP with him.
I thought he was on a BK. I thought he was on the BK when I set that point.
He might have been. I know he had a PP with him, but I don't know whether that was what he was using.
Everyone on blue team was just on fire, and I don't mind because the shots I were getting were just brilliant. So Dice Flux, where red team lost, blue team won again. But we then went to the CQB area. So like to say, this is where we used to stop detonators. 3 big buildings. The centre one is always unlocked. The far right one is always locked. The other one is always unlocked. No one ever goes into it. Now, normally, what we tend to do there is like a quick team deathmatch meet grinder. What I decided to do was fibs 1 in, 1 out. So you have, say, 3 people in the arena at any one time. When you get tagged, you come back, press button, and another teammate goes in. I decided to mix it up this time by having the middle room. If you enter it, you swap your bib into the bucket, and you might pull out the same colour, you might pull out the opposite team's colour. I like the concept. I like how it played out. There were some issues. Obviously, you never knew how many of your team were in there. So you could be waiting for people to respawn because they might have already swapped. There's a better way of doing it, I'm sure. It also meant the middle room was not a contested area. Normally, you get people hiding in the shadows in there, which I normally do. So for me, it was played very differently. I really enjoyed it because it's kind of like Blob, which doesn't normally play very well, but Blob that worked. But at the same time, it was 1 in, 1 out. I liked it, but it wasn't perfect, is where I'm going to go. We played 2 sides. Me and Boneheed and Spectre went in on the first game. Spectre went and changed and came back out and shot us in the back.
We
And
got absolutely betrayed
Yeah.
instantly, like
Instantly.
worst top 10
And
anime betrayals by
that
Spectre
was-
straight away.
That was what I was expecting from the game type.
Yeah.
And so it played exactly the way I wanted it to play. And I really enjoyed it. But there's things I can't put my finger on it, but it worked exactly as I expected and exactly as I wanted, but it wasn't right.
I think for me, one of the issues with it for me was you didn't know how many of your team were in or out, and there should have been some way of when someone swapped teams that trigger in someone else needs to spawn, because there were times where there were probably 3 blues in the maybe 5 blues in the arena and only 1 red, and it made it when you were at your spawn point you didn't know whether or not we'd still got 3 of our team out,
and it also didn't help with the weather. It was chillier. We'd had to wait to get the buckets brought down because we sent even back to get them. I think people were just a little bit cold waiting around. What I would probably do next time is have the same idea of swapping, but just as pure team deathmatch.
Yeah.
And maybe a 30-second respawn just to give those kind of waves a bit more of a chance. But we try these things. What I'd like to try is the same somewhere else where we can do that. Maybe Unit 26 if you went through the dark room, for example.
Would it not work if, say, I killed you, we'd then have to swap bibs, but you go respawn?
Possibly. That'd be similar to Blob, yeah. Like I say,
you've still got 3 and 3 in
there
there.
are various ways of doing it. And it's something we need to figure out. But like I say, I loved it. It just wasn't quite what I expected. But it played exactly as I expected. So, yeah.
It was a great game time. I got some absolutely epic shots. There's some great photos of. There's one point where Hugo came around the corner, went to fire at me, realised he'd not primed his blaster, and then screamed like I'd just shot him in the nuts. And I was like, "Are you all right?" It was like, "Yeah, I just didn't realise I'd not primed." I was like, "Oh, good." Bang.
Which always happens. So one thing about that, for anyone who's never been, there are only 2 entrances into the centre square, so they become normally choke points. Because of the bibs, the corners of that central building became choke points, so people were hunkered down watching corners, but then people were flanking around catching them, or coming through and shooting them from the side. Like I say, it played really nicely, just not quite what I wanted. I was using the Spamf. Spamf was working brilliantly. Smoke grenades were totally different in there. So we haven't really touched on them. I got a load of these small 30-second EG25 equivalents from Big Shotter in pretty much every colour they did. They were great for creating a little cloud. So normally we use the EG40s. I think they're EG40s, which produce like 90 seconds of smoke. These produce about 30 seconds. So it doesn't massively create a huge cloud, but it creates enough just to kind of obscure it so you can pull back. And for the first time, we let smoke grenades be used in CQB. And we
gave most of them to Tartan.
And we gave most of them to Tartan. So I'll let you fill in what your thoughts on this were. But for me, it totally changed how I approached those corners. Because I wasn't throwing them, but I was using the ones that had been thrown to my advantage or avoiding them. And that's maybe when I went into the centre room to then swapped and then came out and shot. So, like I say, it had some really good ideas. It just needs a little bit more thought. and it's one I definitely want to revisit to try it. But yeah, everyone else, fill in your thoughts, because obviously all of us have played CQB before. This is very, very similar to Unit 26, but much tighter in the corridors, especially that side with the vines on
Yeah.
the thing. That is a very tight corridor. There's a picture of Josh, and Josh isn't a big bloke. You're much thinner than me, and even then, you still look to be like having to crouch
Yeah.
to squeeze in through this corridor. So I'm intrigued to hear what your thoughts are as a new player there, and how it compares to CQB elsewhere.
Well, I could not get into that middle section at all. I loved it when I managed to get in, when I was spawning in, but then I was having the issue of I could not get past those corners. Every time I went
Yes.
there was either someone directly on that corner or someone like literally hugging the wall. So as soon as you pop your head out, you see if you're cornered, you're getting sandwiched, and it's like, oh, and because there's only one way in. And if the other team gets both of those corners, you're not.
What
It's
you'll
difficult.
find is one of the reasons we don't use full auto in there is because it's very easy to just absolutely pepper somebody from those corners. What you need to do is have people on both sides, so you kind of cross over as you come through.
Yeah.
Grenades are also much better in there. So Spectre threw one at me, landed at my feet, didn't go off. And I'm like, I didn't go off, and the one's come straight in after it, lands at my feet. It's like, yeah, now I'm walking back.
I think it was in CQB that I got a grenade kill on like 2 or 3 people. I may be misremembering that, but I'm pretty sure I threw a grenade at one point, or it might have been that was.
You got me with that one.
Yes,
Well,
yes, there you go.
Makes a change. I didn't throw one at Green Hornet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the CQB area is notorious, particularly if you are Han, because that's the site where Han had a big boy grenade go off and right at his feet, and all 10 primers went off. Eight primers went off at his feet and nearly deafened him. But for those that don't know, it's 3 brick buildings surrounded by concrete walls, and there's cutouts between those walls. So you enter at 2 points, and you can go either left or right around the building, but ultimately you're meeting in the middle. And that middle point is often the big choke point. And it was very much so in this game when you weren't getting betrayed by Spectre. But I found myself going there and expecting to shoot someone at the opposite side of one of those choke points and then get shot in the arse, or a grenade come in, or the smoke was there, so I couldn't get my normal shot. So the smokes worked really well there. I would worry about using the big boy smokes in there, though, because I think they would probably just choke everyone out a little bit too much. So those little smokes were a really good addition, because it's you're not worried about like choking plumes that will fill the entire area.
They clear a lot quicker than the big boy smokes as well.
Yeah. And some of the placements was brilliant as well. I've mentioned before we started recording, Tartan placed one in a little vent on the side of one of the buildings, and it just made that entire corridor was just filled with purple smoke, and you couldn't see where you were going. You had to risk, right, do I risk lung damage and potential blindness here and proceed, or do I go all the way round and risk getting shot in the arse because someone else has braved it and I haven't? So it made it a lot more tactical. It gave you a bit more you had to weigh up your options a little bit more. It added a bit more tactical thoughts, if you like, to that area. So yeah, love that area. I do think game types in there, as varied as they are, always work well, because it's just such a small, compact area. You're never without a target for long.
Yeah. Let me float an idea. Because I had a particular thought process in regards to the choke points and the use of smoke. But before we get involved in that, because that's sort of like a big topic, Adam, ultrasonic mine at a choke point.
Yeah, it would have been fun. I didn't bring the ultrasonic mine.
But I'm just thinking, just pop it down there, and just whoever walks through is getting it, right?
And put it with the smoke as well would have been even funnier.
Yeah.
So you can't see the ultrasonic mine because of the smoke in front of it. Yeah.
Yeah. But it would see you.
Yes, absolutely. So my thing, just to sort of quickly thing is, I do feel that preventative, I say preventative, but basically grenades to me would really come into a value of their own there during it, because you would be, anytime you wanted to approach the choke point, because there's only two of them, but anytime you want to approach one of them, okay, you'd be throwing one out. Okay, now yes, you're only catching the people who are hiding right behind them, for example Pete, because there's a shot of Pete there where he's just like Benny sticks his head around. He's like, hello, you know. But just lobbing it in there would still be within the catch radius. But for example, Mod or Spectre, whatever, who was taking the longer, much tighter angle, would you not obviously not catch them? But in terms of getting through that smoke point, or that choke point rather, would be definitely something that grenades would have a unique value in. And we do. Adam, did you limit the grenades?
So we allowed 8 bangs per round,
Mhm.
but in the CQB, no BFGs, just because it deafens in there.
Yeah. So 8 grenades would, in principle, allow you to cross that choke point 8 times.
8 times, yeah.
That's massive amount of mobility. And the thing is, you're getting tagged frequently, so you're going back to base. So even if you're only having 1 or maybe 2, you can pick them up. It's 30 seconds to swap them over, because you're doing the 1 in 1 out rule. Okay, you're fine. Okay, so you're not really having any downtime. So to me, using grenades there would be something that I'd consider essential for it. The smokes were a mixed blessing, I think, in that one, because in what I wanted to do was limit the line of sight, not necessarily completely, but to make you have to pause and verify the target that you were shooting at. Okay, and especially when you had the bib swapping component of it, it was an extra time to make you think, right, actually, is this person on my team? Is it not? The wind was coming through certain components of that, and I only really felt that the smokes were actually being utilized in like one very particular area. I think it was just next to the middle room, where there's a sort of awning over it, and it created a sort of vortex where it hung around in there. Whereas the one that I put into the vent, popped it in. That was one of the bigger ones that I pulled. I brought with me, because it was the ones that Ernie sells at the depot, which are essentially just the equivalent of like the 40 ones, the sort of normal size ones. Popped it in the vent there, and just the wind just came around, the water just whipped it away and out of the area. I'm thinking, well, that's a bit naff. So I shifted it around to one, and again the wind just came and pulled it away. So I felt like it was a waste,
Yeah. What I would say is, where you put them in a corner, it denied those corners really well, because people didn't want to go to those corners. But that in then itself, I'd like to try it again in there. So I'm intrigued if Darren lets them be used at the next one, and how he runs an event down there.
It's certainly going to be interesting to see what they do. But it will be curious to see how that would be.
The other idea is seek and destroy in there.
Seek and destroy in there. I would love to see what that would be like for smokes on a completely calm day with no wind.
Yes.
Okay.
Just for reference, by the way, that's one of the big boys that we use. The ones we had were probably that long and a bit, like about
the
probably
ones
half
we
a minute.
had, that big.
Oh, okay. So Josh has got one, and Adam's got one.
Big boy, little boy.
So there you go.
Yeah, big boy, little boy.
I forgot to bring my big boys to this event, so I've still got about 12 of them in my spare bedroom.
Adam, I'll get you to do a picture of that, so I can actually make it on screen just now for people. Because I personally think that the smaller smokes are the way to go.
So
these are better for the big 5 and big 6, in my personal opinion.
Yes.
For the CQB, these are going to be way too big. In terms of seek and destroy in CQB, my only concern would be there are corridors in that area where you can't pass each other. You've got to wait for someone to get to a corner, and then there's some of the corridors are that narrow that even if you are a skinny bloke such as Josh, you ain't getting past people.
Oh, no.
I would say that it's worth then, if you're doing seek and destroy in that, extend the area so you can actually use the outside.
Right. Yeah.
So that you therefore, because if you could go disappear out one door, go all the way around the corner and come back in the other side, you've essentially passed a potential choke point by just going, right, I'm a way around. And it's something that I think would be the way to go with that. I mean, it is very much the game type that you want. You want flexibility, you want maneuverability in seek and destroy. You don't want to be sitting there having to do a, passing place type stand around, because then all you're basically doing is sitting and going, cool, I'm just a sitting target now for somebody, But that's that. Right. Anything else from on?
You got some good photos though. So there's a bit with Tinkerbell on his knees and Bendy coming in with a blue smoke. That was great. Like I say, I really enjoyed it. It just wasn't quite what I wanted. So I'm intrigued to do it again. Yeah, just to see what we can tweak on it. And that's true of most of our events. We've done these talks. We've come up with an idea. We've tried it again. So just on the little smokes, I discussed this with Tartan on Day. These are about £1.30-ish compared to about £5 or £6
They're
for the
about
big ones.
£4 or £5 depending on the deal you get.
So you can get 3 to 4 of these for every one of those, which means you can throw them more. So you haven't got the analysis paralysis that you get with some of the big ones. And certainly in the first 2-3 games, we were lobbing these like nobody's business.
Yeah, I picked up 4 of them, and I think I'd got one left by the end of the day, but that was just because Tartan was lobbing them with reckless abandon.
And glee.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
This is one of the ones that I think you did the bulk order for the quarry, and I've still got most of those. I think I bought 8, and I've still got 4 left. But I'd also got an order of like 6 purple ones, so I still got like 10 of these in my spare room. I meant to bring them, I didn't. I should have done. But yeah, I think with that game that time though, Adam, I definitely agree that it had potential. There just needs to be a few tweaks, and it will be a really, really good game type.
If it hadn't been raining as well and wet and cold, would have all enjoyed it a little bit more, because
absolutely.
When you were standing, so I know from our footage of the second one, second round, where we were all chatting around about with Darren about
the beer
mod. Yeah, but there was a lot of good chatter in the downtime, and I do like 1 in 1 out for that very reason. Is it gives you that chance to breathe and catch you, kind of recover, which in CQB is more necessary. But here, because we were taking it at a slow pace anyway, wasn't as needed. But no, I really enjoyed it. It just wasn't what I expected. So we broke for lunch, and it rained a lot. And then we finished lunch and it's brightened up again. So we went down to the Big 5. So Big 5 is like Big 6, but one of them is broken. And normally Spartan runs a game type called Pushback. So you start at building 1. You're going to get everybody into building 1, building 2, building 3, building 4, building 5, which is the bar. I ran push out. So basically you worked it in reverse. You had to get out of the bar into 4, 3, 2, 1. And I did it so that defenders had a number of lives equal to the room that's being attacked. Now, Spartan is immediately going to say, not Spartan, Tartan is going to immediately say, we got it wrong because he couldn't get good photos, and I would totally and utterly agree with him.
I'm not going to say that. What I'm saying in how I interpreted that in my head and how it played out were not the same thing.
Yes. And I will totally admit it didn't play out as getting out of the bar the same way I expected it to.
And I think I think the reason for that being is that you had the defending team starting in a building
Yeah,
where, because what that basically meant is anybody who was fast, i.e., Minimodge, Ethan, Bendy, anybody who was
could
basically
get
younger,
out
okay, they
quick.
could
Yeah,
bolt out as soon as the buzzer went, okay, and they were out and gone. Whereas if you'd had everybody in the bar and the defending team essentially setting up outside of it,
Right.
you would have had that epic push.
Yeah.
Actual, the real concentrate. Because then what you basically had is nothing really of consequence,
Yeah.
because people could get out and away. Whereas if everybody had been there, yes, again from a photographer perspective, I'd have loved to have thrown down a couple of smokes either side of the door and actually made it quite cinematic to view and to play through. I just think that everything past the actual first
Yeah.
room played out as it should do. I just think the first room should be set up where you
No,
defend and
I will.
actually
I
are.
totally agree. It didn't play out the way I expected it to, because I thought, yeah, well, you start in room 4 because that's where you're defending. I didn't appreciate, that there are fast players who will get out. And part of it is Ross wasn't there, and he's normally our fast player. So I totally forgot that Bendy's just as fast, if not faster.
Yeah.
So
We didn't have Han either. Han's usually nippy as hell.
yeah. So
And if because Ross isn't there, Darren tends to be a bit more sort of chill.
Yep.
Whereas if Ross is there, Darren's right on his heels, chasing around.
So at this point, Al had stepped down because he
Yeah.
was suffering a bit. So I played on the defending side twice, which is kind of how Spartan used to do it. What I would say is I took a lot of headshots, and I know Hugo did in this one. The end of this game, Hugo had like 5 spots across his head. And part of it is just it was where you were presenting your head, and we were getting caught as we moved. So yeah, I like pushback. I liked this. It just wasn't what I wanted.
Few
And
tweaks.
that's on me.
Try it
Yeah.
again.
On the plus side, we did it so you only had to get one person into a room, which made it a lot more frantic. So
Yeah.
rather than everybody having to get in, which you it meant everyone had to push normally in pushback. With this one, you could get somebody who was just a lone warrior sneak in, which happened on probably 3 out of the 4 rooms on most of them. So I liked that. My gear, I'd swapped for Mark 1 this time. And my Mark 1 is nice. I'm one of 1,000 in the world who has a Mark 1. Mine is pretty good.
You like to get that in, don't you? That you're one of the 1,000.
I do love to get.
I'm special.
But it wasn't a patch on my slab. I wish I'd have stuck with a slab. I also was using my heavier rig when I was using at Unit 26 last, which is great. But I'd got so used to using that bandolier that it felt bulky, especially when we were trying to move quickly to adapt people getting out of the bar quickly. So it wasn't that I didn't like it. It just wasn't what I was expecting. And that's on me. And
I would have.
I mean,
expected
that was
the
my.
shields.
This was my. Sorry, go
No.
on, Tartan.
No, just I would have expected. This is the one in my mind. This is where the shield would have been a key thing because because I would have interpreted it playing out before we actually got there. I'd have thought it would have been people having to fight their way out. The shield would have been really invaluable for being able to secure ground, and act as a platform. I would say I would do push out again or break out, whatever you want to call it. I would say do it again, just a few minor tweaks because that's what we're finding.
Absolutely.
The game types are all solid bases. They just need a few bits and pieces. Like we've had it with when we've done the Clone Wars. Great idea, just a few minor situations that needed wrapped up just to make it work a bit smoother. And the idea is this has got a great format, just needs a little bit of tweak.
What I would say is I like the Big 6 more than Big 5.
Yes.
The Big 5 is easier to cross over, and we discussed this on the day as whether the Big 5 is steeper. I think the middle big crossover isn't, but all the other bits are.
Yeah.
Because especially at room 2, you can go up that really steep bank and then come back down. And Ethan took that route at one point and was held off. Then he did the full loop round and caught people in the back. Big 5 plays very differently to the Big 6. Because Big 6 is symmetrical. It's predictable.
You've got 2 entrances at each end, and you've got 3 buildings at each end. So
you've got 2 crossovers for every building.
Yeah.
Whereas Big 5, because you've got that lone one, it feels very different.
Yeah.
And I think because I'm so used to having an arena where you've got like the No Man's Land for Unit 26, where there is a very clear kind of almost mirror effect. I'm used to the Big 6 more because that's how I'm used to planning games.
It's 5, very much their side and our side, isn't it?
Yeah. So Big 5 is you have to come at game design a little bit different, and I didn't get it right. But we learn. Like I say, gear wise, my Mark 1 wasn't great. It was still really good. It's just not a patch on slab. I took a lot of hits in this one. Like I say, across the head, Hugo did. I wish I'd had a shield.
I mean, I'll be honest, that was my least favourite game of the day. I think part of that is due to old, knackered, getting frustrated with the fact that
you dropped out after this one.
So this was my last game. There's footage of this as well. There was a point where I was testing the definition of insanity. I was trying the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And the thing I was testing was going out of the building and heading straight towards Spectre. And every single time I went out of that building, Spectre was there with his Vespa and tagged me. I was getting ratty. I fully admit that. And it wasn't down to Spectre being overly aggressive. It wasn't like anything against him. It was just he just happened to be where I was going. But with that said, I think there are tweaks that we could make. As we've said, it's a good game type, it's a good game idea. Just a few little tweaks to it, and it would work a lot better. I had an excellent moment, and you were there with me on this one, Adam, where we were defending one of the buildings. And Dazzle had run around and got jumped, like hid behind a bush, and I was popping shots into the bush with my on toss.
Yes,
and I kept aiming for him whenever he stuck his foot out, whenever he stuck an arm out, whenever he tried to move. I was popping shots at him, and then you came in and you were shooting, and you can hear on my footage your Mark 1 going off over my head. In his general direction.
That bush was just filled.
It was literally just big enough to hide the whole of Daz. And after the
just
game,
thick enough for the darts not to go all the way through.
And he came to me afterwards and he said, my time in that bush was limited because every shot you fired got closer and closer to me. And as it happened, Ethan had circled round and shot him in the arse anyway. But it was just epic because we were like, I know he's there and I can see him. I'm going to take another shot. I'm going to take another shot. I'm going to take another shot. And he said, literally, if Ethan hadn't got me, your next shot or Adam's next shot probably would have done. And that's the sort of gameplay that I really enjoy because it was a memorable event. Even in a game I wasn't massively enamored with, I had fun. And that's what it's all about. You know, you enjoy that particular moment. You've got a little memorable sort of period of time within a game. That made it justified why I nerf.
Why you spend money on toys.
I think there was a great moment on the photographs where it's Spectre and Pete coming across the crossover between
I've seen this one.
Yeah,
between the buildings.
Yeah, it's just between it's one of the crossover and like Pete's coming up front and there's like a volley of shots and there's just like a series of pictures of Pete just basically going,
I'm just doing a little dance.
You know, I didn't put them all up there, but I just thought the one that's just
I think there's like 2 or 3. The first one's just you see him, and then the second and the third is just like, oh no.
Yeah,
Just
and
getting
it's
into
just
the
like,
position of I'm
when
dead.
when you capture that, when you capture the sequence of shots, and it's great when that happens. Um, and it's just that sort of high pitched yelp as well, of going, yeah, those shots are landing, you know.
Yeah.
On the
My
subject of Darren and that hiding in the bush, what I'd found is with the wind dispersing the smokes quite significantly, I found that the tire stacks was quite good to throw them in. Okay,
Yeah.
because it meant that it lingered a lot more. And I think there's a bit where I was standing with Al had bowed out, but he was still sort of recording footage at this point in time. Al was standing beside me. I'm sitting there, and I'd put one of the orange smokes into the really big tires on the crossover. And Taz is essentially just pinned down, hidden behind these tires, just dodging back and forth. And you can see the shot. He's trying to move, and he's like, "Nah, wherever he's going, he's going to risk getting his head taken off." Um, and it was just really good to see them once again that being able to pin people down, even though you're not necessarily getting the shots to hit them, but you're pinning them down.
Stopping
you're
a
limiting their
player who
movement.
could otherwise cause
Yeah.
problems. My favourite picture from this one is Hugo with his game face on, with the orange smoke flying towards him.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
He's just
That's a good one.
poking out with
War Piece. Arr!
Yeah, that's reminded me
sails
that
through the air.
there was another epic moment in this game as well. I think it was when we were attacking, and I go to one of the crossovers, and Spectre is at enough range that I know it's not a guaranteed hit. And we've all seen Al's dodging shots video where he's dodging backwards and forwards between a board. Spectre was firing at me with his Vesper, and he missed once, he missed twice, so I started doing these sorts, and you can kind of see it on the camera that I'm dodging about. But he eventually tags my hand. I'm like, yeah, all right, I'll take that. And as I'm walking away, you can just hear Spectre say, "Suck my entire dick, Bonehead." I was like, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that.
Which is always nice because there's a bit with in the video with Al dodging between jet, but it's like it's some sort of like really it's some sort of Jedi comment that he says.
Jedi
But yeah,
reflexes.
yeah, it's like yeah, good to be on the receiving end of that, isn't it? Just what about your karmic feedback for you there, mate? But yeah, it was. I think it worked very, very well. But like I said, on the subject, just to briefly circle back to the weather, one of the paths was really beginning to get quite muddy.
Yeah.
And it was that's the point I'm thinking, right, somebody's going to fall there.
Yeah.
I think it was Spectre.
And it was
Yeah.
Spectre ultimately. I fully suspect it was one of those sort of tennis ball
No,
size.
it was.
Yeah.
We found it. We threw it into the berm.
Yeah.
There's some really good photos from this one when we're defending the last room, and we're all in that kind of at the roadway, just covering the lines of fire. Like I say, I didn't dislike it. It just wasn't quite what I wanted. But we got some really good photos from it.
Mhm.
And one thing we've said before is sometimes those moments, those good photos, those trade-offs between things is all that it needs to make it an enjoyable thing. But yeah,
Ethan, there's a photo of Ethan in the smoke, and
when he's crouched down with,
I think it's either his crouch or he's walking, and he absolutely loves it. I think it's one that you commented on, Adam.
yeah,
Yeah, is that the bit when he's is it the one
So-
at the Big Six? And I
Um,
think it's a Big Six. He's just hiding behind the bush.
yeah, he's no, he's no, you
Yeah,
can't see
it's
it.
the
Blur.
blurs out.
it's one
Yeah.
where I've just gone epic because he looks.
Yeah,
he
he's
looks
got
cool.
the unicorn, and it's just with the smoke just makes it 10 times better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm thinking
And
of
I'm
thinking
glad
of
he
one
came.
completely different from that one. But no, what I'll do is I'll make sure I'll when I go through and edit this, I'm just getting a white
We
screen.
can't
That's
see
it,
that.
Yeah. I mean, Ethan was pissing glitter throughout the entire event, as he
Yes.
often does.
He
so
did. He
it's-
did look rather happy. Yeah.
I
What I'll
love
do is
these
normally
events.
I'd intersplice footage into these things, but what I'll do is I'll just basically just put
A
all the
montage
pictures
of all the good.
Yeah, basically just
Yeah.
I'll drop the photos in, and I'll just sort of do them so like they run roughly in sequence with what we're actually talking about there.
I'm going to
for
try and
people to
bring
be
it
able to
up while
view.
we're talking about shit. Anyway, talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah. You do realise that you are the one person who's making me edit and bleep out this entire show. It's been consistently you.
Go off.
So
I had
after
zero
that,
expectations, and yet still I'm disappointed.
still disappointed, yes. So after
I aim
that,
to please.
we went back to the main area. We reloaded and we went to do Gear Killer. So the idea was a 46-minute long team deathmatch in the Big Six. And I'm going to be honest, I called it early for personal reasons. We didn't do a tag talk for the last Unit 26 because I didn't enjoy it.
No.
So one of the things that happened at the Unit 26 was it was a lot of aggressive gameplay. And I don't know what it was about Gear Killer. Maybe teams weren't balanced right. Maybe it was people who still had a lot more energy than other people. But the gameplay became very aggressive. I wasn't enjoying it. Other people weren't enjoying it. And having had that experience at Unit 26, I made a call to close the game early. And I don't mind. Oh, carry on.
You go. No, you go on.
So the irony is, I had one of my best moments of the day in this game type. So Bendy had his shield. I'd seen him. I was taking a shot at him. He dunked behind it, and as we've all said, Bendy's 6'9", and somehow still manages to
gets increasingly taller as we go on with this conversation. I think he's 6'6", but still.
Yeah, I'm going to say. But he tucks all his body behind this shield, and there is literally about an inch of his leg I can see. So instinct fires at the shield. I hit the viewplate. And I just start walking these shots down. And I'm maybe one shot off getting into the gap of his leg. Pete Tinkerbell turns around the corner, shoots me straight with one shot. Doesn't he? I'm not even sure he aimed. And it's just like, yes. Because literally I was maybe 10 seconds off getting Benny and I'd have been over the moon.
Yeah.
But I was so happy that Pete was there. He like I say, it was literally, you turn the corner, dump.
It was more the fact that Bendy was literally cracked to his shoulders, and he was like, Adam's on the hill. I just went,
And you couldn't have asked for a better moment that kind of sums up my kind of gameplay of having fun than walking shots down a shield and being so close and then somebody just taking me out without aiming.
Yep.
I had such a moment there, and it's on the camera. I think you shouted something like, "Oh, sorry," and I'm like, "No,
Yeah.
it's like exactly what he should be."
I think in terms of observing, I personally felt that most of the players were getting tired at that point in time.
Yeah, we
I
were
felt
tired.
you're mentioning about like the sort of aggressive gameplay. I felt that there was, in terms of taking photos, I just found that people just weren't moving as fast or moving as frequently. And just like I can see what you're saying about calling it, just because we are older. Most
Some
of
of
us, some of us have got increasingly, parts that need to get replaced on the NHS. So it's very much a case of I think you made the right call by basically saying, right, let's call it early so we can. By the time we got back, time we done the dart sweep, got back there and tidied up there, we were just after sort of finishing time from when Nathan had appeared for sort of.
Yeah, I'm going to say timing-wise, it worked out fine. Talking about needing things replaced, I'd hurt my back at eyeballs a month and a bit ago. So I'd been struggling like for 3 weeks after it. I brought my lumbar support with me.
Yeah.
I realised in the push out that I was struggling. Put it on, and I was able to carry on going. If I hadn't brought that, I wouldn't have managed Gear Killer. So, if you're an older gamer like us, an older player like us, invest in a good lumbar support.
We're going to end up with just like full exoskeletons shortly.
Well,
I'd buy
thing
that for
is,
$1. There's a
yeah,
reason I sat
absolutely.
that game out. I was
You were
wiped
done.
by that
Yeah,
point. I was
yeah.
done. I just sat down and just chilled for a bit.
And
But
it's something we've mentioned before that Dishforth is a brutal site
Yep.
because you've got much longer engagement distances than CQB. Plus, you're going on muddy slopes, up and down and up and down, and some of the game types were purposely designed to sap your energy. So push out, you had to respawn at the bar, so you could potentially have to go quite a way to respawn on purpose to slow the game down. So yeah, I'm not surprised any of us were struggling. Like I say, the people who were playing a little bit more aggressively were people who have always had a bit more energy than the rest of us. So
Yeah, for me, I felt it was getting to the point where I was getting too tired, but then I couldn't move.
yeah,
I'd go to do something and I'm instantly getting hit, and it's like, oh,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
I was,
There were
I think there was,
some
I was
blasters
stuck on
that
spawn for
were
about 5 minutes,
yeah, there were
and
some
I'm like,
blasters that were performing a little bit differently to what I would have expected for 200. So
yeah,
I made the right decision to call it. I'm not sure if some of the people at the time appreciated it, but
a lot of people did.
yeah,
I mean, again,
I did.
I was feeling that I'm done. I'm spent. I'm not able to continue the game before because I was starting to get irritated to the point where I wasn't playing my best. I was probably getting angry at shots that I shouldn't be getting angry at. So I decided to call it a game early, and I think if I'd gone into the gear killer, I would have just been miserable.
Yeah.
So I think I made the right call there. But again, if other people had reached that point slightly later than me, that's fair. But on the subject of Dishforth being set up for breaking people, which it is, just for reference, on that day I walked to where Jason picked me up and back, which is a 2-minute walk either direction, and I got 17,000 steps that day. So we're probably talking 200 steps for the walk to and from Jason's car, and then
everything else.
17,000 over the course of the actual games. So
I feel really okay with that because I was wearing my sports watch and I got about 17,000 as well.
yeah,
I
and
got
I was
18
just,
and a half,
yeah.
all
and I
right,
was
sure.
driving.
Right.
But
You were probably walking more than I was as well, though, David, because you were moving when I was probably stood still at respawn or waiting and trying to snipe people and whatnot. So
Yeah, I think
that
the only
sounds
time
about
I
right.
was ever actually standing still was when I was taking a shot. Otherwise, I
Yeah.
was just constantly moving and constantly throwing the grenades or the smokes around. So, yeah, just before we sort of go and have a topic that I wanted to sort of get everybody's feedback on there, any closing thoughts on Gear Killer?
I know me and Ethan, we enjoyed it. I know Gavin, Pete's probably the same. We had the conversation on the way home. It's like there was nothing that was bad to completely ruin it.
No.
We absolutely loved it. And it's like we were like, right, when's the next one?
Yeah.
I think
that
the only
was-
thing that would have wrecked the day would have been if the torrential rain, well, not even
had
torrential rain,
continued.
if the lunchtime rain had continued on, because you would have
Yeah, but
one of
then
you two
Boney
either.
Boney's got to use his Galaxy poncho.
This is I've yet to get to use the Galaxy poncho, and I'm quite frankly I'm disappointed at that.
Fashion is safe once again.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so the one thing I mentioned to Adam was discussing the smoke grades. Okay,
Yes.
so I'm coming at this from two different perspectives: a player and the photographer for the day. Okay, as a player, I am hands down somebody who is in favor of smokes. Okay, I think they add a lot to it in terms of visually, but also tactically. I think there's something that is not the easiest to use, and I think it's something that the cost involved in them does make it prohibitive for a lot of players, because working on the basis that Adam, you said they were from Big Shot or Fireworks, okay? I went
Yes.
on to them, okay, and it was 10 for £15, okay? That's what they were priced at on the website, and that would have got you the equivalent of 3 smoke grenades, the normal sized ones. The ones that I brought with me were 3 for 10, which we got at the depot from Ernie's, because Ernie cuts a deal on them. So I personally don't mind bringing along half a dozen smoke grenades and throwing them out, okay? But I resent immensely when they don't have an impact, okay, upon gameplay. Therefore, when you handed me a box of mini ones and told me the price of them, my first thing was, what? You're kidding me. And then, no, seriously, this is how much they cost. I'm thinking, I have found my new joy. And, the idea of having 10 smoke grenades for the cost of 3 is just like, they're great. Because one, if you make a mess of the throw, you've only got 30 seconds worth of smoke wasted, as opposed to 1 of 3 grenades, okay?
Yeah.
So you're much more likely to use them. You don't suffer from analysis paralysis. I personally would say, because I would normally bring along, say, like 6 or something like that, dropping 30 quid on 20 of them would be quite a reasonable expenditure for me. Again, your mileage may vary depending on where your finances are. I just think that it was a real... Yes, you buy blasters that you therefore can't use.
So you mentioned finances. I thought I'd bring up a blaster that I've yet to use and probably won't get to.
Yes,
because
you buy the ones that I pass on, and then also don't use those ones as well. So yes.
Is this where I go and grab my Quinlan?
Really funny story.
Emotional support gunman, please.
Yes.
Well, I think at this point it's an emotional support zebra.
Yeah.
Red hair / zebra. Yeah.
Well,
anyway,
I'll retell the story about the Meth Toddler T-shirt after we're done recording, because there's no way I'm going to publish the story. I'll explain it afterwards. Okay. So, from a player perspective, I think the idea that you've got shorter lasting smokes, I think, is absolutely the way to go. They're easier to put in dump pouches. Or on little pockets in the rigs, or whatever you want to do them, okay? Even if you wanted to try and fit them into, say, the molly.
I think they'll fit inside molly, yeah.
So, I mean, they'll fit in a Talon pouch, but with the little ones, you could probably get 2 or 3 in there. So,
But one of the also things is, if you don't want to do that, you could probably just pull out the little molly strapping and fit that in, and that'll be great, okay? So if you want to run a really super lightweight rig, you can do so, okay? So yes, I think it's absolutely the way to go. Jason, one thing that was coming along to me on the way home from the event was shields. One of the things that's really annoying is getting shot in the legs. It's inherently part of using the shield, okay?
Yeah.
Daz has got, I think it's a 3D printed smoke grenade holder. So it's not like an actual pouch. It's like just like a 3/4
clip
diameter thing that just clicks in, okay? So imagine like an inverse of a fulcrum grenade holder that you basically just put the smoke grenade in upside down, so it's right at the bottom of your shield, rip the cord so that it starts bellowing smoke out, okay? And you walk
with this
walking smoke grenade.
This walking smoke grenade walking towards you. What's that? You can't shoot my legs because you can't see my legs, I think that
Smoke
is
demon mode unlocked.
The only issue I see there is how hot they burn. Don't they, Boneheed?
I still have a very small scar on my ring finger. I don't know if you
it's
can
also
see there.
show the on-toss scar.
There is, there's, again, don't know if this will show on camera, but there is a very slight discoloration there.
Yeah.
Because I had the grenade in my left hand, pulled the pin with my right hand, and it proceeded to spew.
You can see it on the video.
Yeah, I didn't have my ring. I didn't have my ring on, but yes, it's discoloured my on-toss, burnt my finger very slightly. In hindsight,
setting fire to my T-shirt though. That's what.
Yeah, true. I mean, in hindsight, I should have put the on-toss down before I threw the grenade, but I didn't have a sling, so it's a hazard of those particular grenades. I don't remember ever having that problem with these. Anyway, yes, they burn very, very hot, so
and
being
very
in close
quickly.
proximity. Yeah,
that is one thing I would say. They light up quicker than the big ones.
I think they do. Yes. Because
So
the big ones, you pull the pin and you've got a chance to actually lob them before they start sparking. Whereas the little ones, soon as the pin comes out,
sparking immediately.
Yeah.
So
one of the other things is failure rates. Okay. 3 for £15, one of them fails to go off. That's really infuriating. 10 for £15, one of them fails to go off. I will find whatever, So I only had one failure of a grenade to go off, and it was essentially where I think the ring broke off from
the wire's
thing,
still there.
and the wire's still there. So I mean, if I had like a set of pliers, I could have probably done something with it. I just threw it to the side. It's fine.
Yeah.
But I think the smaller grenades are the way to go. But I am very tempted, Hornet, to see if that would work. The idea of just walking forward, just this carpet of smoke. Yeah. Just it's like we've thrown one of Bendy's BFG grenades at the shield, and it's done nothing to it.
Yeah.
So to me, it was like, it's okay, fine, whatever. It's not going to do a damn thing.
It's worth a go. I think those
so-
shields are pretty hardy. I mean, I know Minimodge had a failure in one of the little grenades, but apparently he'd pulled up rather than out, so he pulled the igniter out of the grenade.
And that's one of the things that you need to sort of read the instructions to make sure you actually do it right, because like you said,
to be honest, I don't think Will had thrown a smoke grenade before because it was his
first 200.
Yeah.
First
venue version, 200 FPS version. So he'd not had chance to use those, but he did say, I had a failure, but I pulled the igniter out, and he knew what to do after that. So everything after that was correct. But again, like you say, it's 10 for 15 quid versus 3 for 15 quid.
Yeah.
It's a fiver versus
It's a big difference there. My thing to use, so I was essentially running around as the neutral agent of chaos, and I think we worked out
as the meat shield of the field. Quite frankly, it was like, oh look, there's a camera there. Someone's hiding behind it. I'm going to shoot him anyway.
This is also true. Yes, I got shot in the neck by. It was an exchange. People were shooting a Hornet in the Big Five, and I got shot square on in the neck, and that was a beauty of a shot. And I got shot in the chin as well. But again, it's what you do. My thing is, as the neutral agent of chaos, running around with a camera, but throwing out these smoke grenades with no particular plan, okay, and therefore I didn't feel like you were saying you could say that I was actually favoring one team over the other team, okay. My thing was I was trying to throw them out thinking, right, looks like there's action across there going to happen. I'll throw a smoke grenade out there, and then sometimes people would actually do something with it. We got like a few epic shots of Hornet there walking through the red smoke grenade with the shield up there. Fantastic shot selection there, okay. Whereas sometimes I would throw them out and people would go scatter. I'm like, again,
there's smoke there. I'm not going to walk through it because that'll make my
big grenade would have annoyed me. Small grenade, whatever, fine. My thing is, how did players feel about having a neutral third party?
I love
throwing smokes out left, right, and center with gleeful abandon.
I think it was great because you never knew where he was coming from, and he just caused that extra little bit of chaos and panic in a way.
I agree with you, Go. It was random, and I think just having someone that wasn't like playing for either team, like when you're on a team and you've got smoke grenades, you think, right, I need to throw this so that I can disrupt the enemy team as much as possible and make it more effective for me.
You didn't know who had thrown it, so you weren't sure if it was going to be something on your team you could take advantage or somebody else. The best one for me was the green in the Big Six, where it was on the crossover.
Mm-hmm.
There's a photo of me with a slab. I know somebody's down that hill, but I could not see a
thing.
I've checked the camera. I can't see. But it was the first time with my Hero Shacks that I've ever noticed the mesh. Because I was in the cloud and literally all I could see was green and mesh. But it was brilliant. I loved that moment. I really enjoyed just letting you go crazy because it worked. We got some cracking photos. You may notice I'm proud of that one.
But what I will do is, like I said, because I've got all the shots that didn't make the cut, I've still got them in the recycle bin on the computer. What I'll do is I'll rescue them. I'll drop them onto a folder in the G drive, and we can actually have a look through the ones that actually didn't as
Just
well.
in case for
yeah,
some other trackers.
yeah, because again, what from a photography perspective, just to very quickly jump across from a photography perspective, I'm used to Dishforth in blazing sunshine, okay,
yeah.
and therefore I'm used to my settings being able to go as high as say 1/2000th of a second, okay. So you're talking shots in flight, darts in flight, where they look almost stationary or with very little blurring, okay. And I'm looking for crystal clear, and therefore I was finding that I was having to tweak the settings, especially during the first round, which is why there really isn't much pictures of the HVZ round, because I again, this is one of the things where as we sort of briefly discussed, your own worst critic. One of the things I really despise is the compression that gets on photos when you upload them. Okay, which is why
if it's Facebook.
Yes,
isn't it, Bernie?
Facebook is really bad.
Well, yeah.
For that.
I mean, I'll hold my hands up. I was looking at them on Facebook because I was in the jury waiting room, and I was like, "Oh, there's photos there." And when you go into Google Drive on your phone, you don't get a thumbnail; you just get a series of
names.
You get like a list of the name of the photos. So to go through each one, you've got to click into it and then go back out and go back in. So I thought, I'll look at it on Facebook. I can just literally swipe through.
Yeah.
And I'd zoomed in on that particular photo where I'm there aiming at Hugo. And it was fuzzy. But when you look at the actual image and you zoom in, it's crystal clear. So
yeah,
I appreciate I probably gave you a little bit of anxiety with that and saying it was fuzzy, but it was just because it was Facebook and I'm an idiot. So,
no, it was very much the idea of there was quite a few shots from HVZ where they were just blurry because you can use automatic settings, okay, and the automatic settings are really damn good, okay, but it will not necessarily cap the ISO that it goes up to, whereas like at 6400 ISO it's nighttime green, and it's just like it's horrific. And I've had so many great shots that are just like, wow, it's like sandpaper. And so therefore I wanted to try and sort of manually adjust them by limiting the ISO and sort of manually tweaking the settings rather than relying on the automatic settings there. But once I sort of figured out the sort of parameters I could work with, I managed to get much more better shots there. I would say that I wouldn't necessarily say that I lost that many shots. I found that once I actually got the settings working well, I reached a sort of happy medium in terms of detail, and there was a few times when, just because I don't really think the smoke actually interfered with the ability for autofocusing when there was stuff that was happening. I think there might have been one or two shots where it maybe sort of interfered a little bit there. But I know there were shots when I went through some of the darker areas in like the CQB, and they definitely there's no way you're taking this without either having a long exposure time, which means that you're not getting anything in sort of detail, or you're having to use flash. And I don't want to try and blind players. You know, the flash unit that I've got is quite a potent. Give me a second. It's down here actually.
I mean, I think I know where you're going with this, but I think I didn't help because, as I said before we were recording, every shot of me, I'm like, and when I saw you aiming at me, I was like, "Don't look at the camera! Don't look at the camera!" So you've not got any of those kind of candid shots of me where my current Facebook photo where I'm like, I'm in the moment and I'm just shooting at someone with my Harrier and it's a brilliant shot.
Whereas all the photos of Hugo are just like.
Yeah, Hugo's like, I'm
going to buy a full face mask so nobody sees my silly face.
No, don't do that.
I've got the full face mask on, but even then I'm trying to look nonchalant. I'm trying not to look at the camera, whereas I probably should have just occasionally just gone towards the camera and given it a bit of a aim directly at David, or
What I love is that when there's something happening, players don't focus on the camera.
Yeah.
But when nothing's happening,
the players who want to have like a shot for Facebook, okay, will quite happily pose for the
Yes.
camera.
Yeah,
Adam,
like me,
definitely
like.
one of them, okay. And yeah, I mean, or I got a few nice shots of Spectre, who's not joined us on the call there. But I got like a few proper, like, yeah, that's a portrait shot. That one is, you know. But yeah, this is my speedlight that I've got. This is a rather sizable and powerful unit. And yeah, if you catch somebody a bit too close, you will quite happily give them like the after glare of I can't see for a couple of seconds. It's not the first time I've actually managed to catch myself with it when I've been taking a shot.
What you're saying is you'll flashbang someone with it.
You could legitimately flashbang somebody with it, yeah. I have it running on batteries just now, but it does actually have the capacity to run on an actual powered unit, which means you can really quickly recharge the power on it. I look forward to the challenge of trying to take shots at something like the depot with this, because this will definitely be a baptism of fire, taking shots at the depot with that stuff. But I thought overall the photos turned out quite well.
Yeah,
I didn't think
some
there
good
really
pictures.
was any sort of ones that were really wasted. But I did feel, in terms of, I would have liked more shots with the smoke involved in it. But again, it's such a blink and you miss it moment.
Yeah, and I would say because there was only 14 of us, there was less people to try and get a good photo of.
This
Yeah,
was something I hadn't
it-
actually really factored in. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a
If
less
it'd been-
target-rich environment, and I think the nature of smoke grenades, particularly, are they're very much a volatile medium. You know,
Mhm.
blink and you miss it with smoke. It's you get the absolute perfect shot of a smoke grenade going off with someone coming through it, like that picture of Ethan in the chat, or the picture behind Adam, or you get just random smoke that doesn't really affect the photo in any way.
Yeah. There's been a few times when where there's a great shot and it's just a little bit too murky to be able
Yeah.
to see who it is. And in terms of, I think there was a shot of Daz when it's like I know it's Daz because I know the shots either side of it. I know it's Daz, but if you were looking at it thinking, what, you know, or sometimes the complete blur out works really well because, like I said, the one with Adam where he's trying to look through this thing, you can't
Through
see
the
anything.
green, you can't
And
see
it's
anything,
really
yeah.
effective there. I think it's just one of the things where that's where I think, again, for me, the smaller smoke grenades really come in to the value for money because it's a case of I could use them much more recklessly. I don't have to worry about them, and I'm not going to feel bad if, all right, I'll throw one out and it doesn't really work. But that's basically my sort of thing.
Yeah, it's the Darren with the blue where it's just going up the side of him, isn't it? Where if you didn't know if it was Darren, you'd struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like
I
the
do think
one
there's still.
of
Sorry,
Tinkerbell
go.
with it coming out of his ass.
Yeah. I think that was the one where the smoke was most prominent there. You can see the progression of the shots as it begins to rise up, and you clearly see it's rising up from his feet there. But yeah, the one where it just looks like he's just appeared like in a puff of smoke. Ta-da!
Yeah. I do still think there's a place for these
Oh, absolutely.
smokes.
Absolutely,
So,
yeah.
But they're very much more use them for a tactical smoke. Like, I'm going to fuck up the enemy team. I'm going to lob a smoke at them so they can't see us. Whereas the little ones are more atmospheric for basically for farming aura, to use Gen Alpha or whatever it is nowadays terminology. Let's aura farm by chucking some smoke in and getting some good photos.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, so we've been recording now for about 2.5. Any final closing bits and pieces from people before we
I
sign off?
think
for the night?
obviously Hugo had his first 200, so we need to hear how that went. Obviously his first visit to Dishforth as well. Hull Titan and Tinkerbell both had their first visit to Dishforth, but obviously had played at Quarry. So I'm intrigued how their experience was, because obviously the rest of us have all played 200 before and done Dishforth. So Hugo, first 200 experience, how did it compare to Unit 26?
It stings more, I can tell you that.
which is always the first thing we say to new players at 200.
There's a reason why I wear full face protection
face,
for 200 FPS, because I don't want to get hit in the lip at 200.
I think some of the pictures you can see me, I'm full full of clothes because it started stinging. Like, I'm gonna add an extra layer just because. But overall, I gotta be honest, it was truly fun. There's nothing else to say. I just had fun, and you can see by my pictures, that tartan turkey. I'm just full on into it. And
how did you find the difference between the close quarter one duel
Yeah.
to like 200 at longer range, like the open areas? Did you find that a bit of
I
an
like
adjustment?
I like the bit of sniping, if you can say it more, so long shots. After getting used to the gun, I think it was really interesting. I like CQB as well. So for me, it was a win-win. Even though Pete, when we did the CQB in the 3 buildings, shot me right here. I already have a mark because of my CPAP machine, and now I got home and my wife's like, "Oh, I thought that got better." It's like, yeah, that's
That's
fault.
not bad.
That's not that.
So on the subject of the CQB area, I'm going to mention this. So for anyone who doesn't know, I'm currently on jury service, and this event directly preceded my jury service. And I made a joke about I'm going to try and get hit in the face so that I get dismissed, because I really wasn't looking forward to it. And the one time I got hit in the face was in the CQB, and it was Darren with a Diana, and he hit me there. The one part of my face that no one can see. So I didn't get any facial bruising because it was literally under the hair. So yeah, it happens, but it is what it is.
To be honest, if it was paintball or airsoft, it would hurt even more. It would leave a mark for days. I once had a hole in my forehead for 3 weeks because of airsoft. So besides that, I had fun. I think everyone was great to play with. And the thing I say in this type of game is, if you hit me and I don't feel it, just shout my name and I'll literally walk back. I'm just there to have fun. I'm not here to win anything. There's no big prize at the end except release the stress. Big smiles. Big smiles.
Rights and good photos.
Yeah. Big smiles and start thinking how you're going to spend money on a Nerf gun without your wife, complaining. That kind of thing.
I mean, to be fair, Hugo, that echoes something we've said numerous times on this channel, and that's that we're here to have fun. We're playing with children's toys. A lot of people feel the need to try and win this, and we're just here to, we're not taking it too seriously. There were times in this event where Al said to me, "Oh, I hate your mag pouch." I wear a tactical mag pouch in front of my gentleman area.
Gonads, yes.
Yeah, I call it a tactical gonad shield. That's where I wear my mags, and Al hit me a couple of times in that, and he's like, "Oh, I've hit your mag pouch," and I was like, "Yep, that's fine. I'll take a hit."
I'm the same. I'm the same.
And that's the thing.
To be honest, I like sometimes more being on the losing side because you actually have to try to find better ways to get out or trying to attack, try to recover. So you're actually more active.
We've said before that we'd rather it be a close loss than a whitewash.
An absolute whitewash, yeah. And that's the thing. Sometimes you don't feel your hits, but if someone calls it, you take it. There are players in the hobby that will. Oh, I hit you. Oh no, it whizzed past my ear. No.
Oh no.
So I'd rather people do that.
No.
So anyway.
I'm pretty sure that some of the times I didn't feel the hit, but if Pete fired me like 10 times with his gun, I'm pretty sure one of them hit me. I'm just going to walk away. I'm not. I'm just there to have fun and run and try to just get out at the end of the day. Just that was a good day. That's all I want.
The one thing you should do, Hugo, is do what I do, which is have your partner be involved in the hobby, because then you don't have to hide the expenditure. You just have to make sure that you buy 2 of them, because then that way she gets one.
That makes it doubly expensive, though.
She participated with me on Airsoft, and for those who don't know, we're Portuguese, and unfortunately, we have no family support here whatsoever. So if I didn't have the kids, she would go with me to these kind of things. Like she would be in the car first than I did. It's that kind of thing. She would be jumping on the opportunity. Unfortunately, it's not the situation because, if we leave,
we just need to find childcare for him next time. Then.
Yeah.
So, and I'll clue you in, Hugo, because I don't think you've heard this comment before. But the joke we make is that Adam's got 5 kids and no money, whereas I've got no kids and 5 money.
5 money.
Yep. So, you told me that.
And an imaginary fiance.
And an imaginary fiance. Yes. Yeah.
But all this to say, if it wasn't for that, trust me, she would be by my side. She used to play airsoft with me. She played paintball with me. That kind of company event sometimes happens. We would just join in. She's loads of fun and she loves this kind of thing. And unfortunately, we can't. But yeah, I loved it. I hope everybody had fun with me, and I can't wait for the next one. I'm a green beard on this, but I'm here for everything. Don't care.
Is
Really
that a Deep Rock Galactic reference?
Somebody gets it. Yes.
Rock and Stone, brother. Rock and Stone.
Rock and Stone. Yeah. I only have 500 hours on that game, but yeah.
I never thought there'd be a niche reference that I wouldn't catch.
I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole, diggy hole, diggy hole.
Right.
Play that clip from
Gimli.
play that clip from Eyeballs a few
I'm not going to
times
find
ago. Where
that.
God, I'll send it to you.
I'm not going to find that. No.
Yeah, that was me.
Right.
That was me.
Aye. Pete.
Yes, Tinkerbell and
Josh.
Hull Titan. Compare it to the Quarry because they are two very different experiences.
Okay.
100% different.
Because
Yeah.
you didn't get sunburn.
I actually brought suntan cream for this event. It was a little bit optimistic.
Sort of adapt my gameplay from what I'm normally used to. Even at Unit 26, it's totally different in the close quarters. I had to quickly adapt because it was very, very close and very, very narrow. There was a couple of times
whereas at Unit 26, you tend to take a kind of cross no man's land approach. Yeah.
Well, there was a few times where me and Adam sort of met face to face on the corners, and it was like, oh, hi again. But the long distance ones, I got used to pretty quickly, especially being at 200. It was definitely an eye opener. It was more challenging on the body.
That's definitely
Dishforth is a bit like Eyeballs in that because you're going up slopes, it takes it out on you a lot more, and it's why I think we set a lower pace because it is so exhausting.
We set a lower pace when Ross isn't there.
Yeah, Ross does make everything faster.
Yeah, Ross has only got 2 speeds, ridiculously fast, and stop.
Fast.
Yep. But yeah, I just found it a lot more different, a lot more chilled, more than anything, just because of the distance between us all, and you had to really pick your shots instead of just going, yeah, cool, I'm just going to shoot you.
And I also need to point out at this point, Pete, as well. The only reason I've been shot at you in that HVZ game is because you entered that room and then immediately dropped your guts. The fart is on camera as well. You can literally hear it.
Yeah, I did. But yeah, it was good fun. Looking forward to the next one.
And Titan.
For me, for this one, really enjoyed it. But I don't think the buildings for the Big 6 and Big 5 are used as much as I was thinking they would.
No, and I've seen them used a lot more in previous games.
Yeah, and comparing that to the Quarry, at the Quarry there was objectives where and the area where there was little buildings where we could add a lot more object cover. Whereas with there, unless you was at the chicane or the barriers down the stretch and the straight, there wasn't that much. You had the big blocks of buildings, but then no one was really in them unless it was the pushback or the push forward, push in, where you was defending the building to stop someone from coming in. I think that was for me the only time I saw them getting news where people was piled in them to stop the defending, the attacking, the ones pushing out, getting into that building.
And normally
previous games
Spartans,
we've had. So go on.
But normally for Spartans Flux, the buildings are usually held more, just as a good way of holding the dice. So I don't know whether it was just the type of players or the fact there was less players.
I think in
But
previous
I
games we've
would
had.
agree with Titan that the buildings played less of an impact this visit.
Yeah. So I was just going to say, I think in previous games I've played, and that it's one of the very rare occurrences of footage of me actually playing on objective. There was a flux tile in a building, so maybe move the dice into the buildings on the big six potentially.
But Spartan used to put them outside where I had them.
He did, but again, I think it was that might have actually been at Kill Factory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would agree that the buildings played less role this time than normal.
The buildings were more cover than a tactical point to defend.
I did go in the buildings a few times during Flux and Kill Confirmed, as more of see who's going to walk past the door because they're not expecting anyone to be in there.
Yeah.
But I didn't see, apart from when it was the Flux and I got Will, Modge and Bendy in the building, I didn't see many more people in the building on any of the gamers apart from the push out.
I think this particular event was a bit of a outlier in that respect.
Yeah.
Because normally the buildings are in use a lot more.
Mm.
And I wouldn't like to say what it was that caused it this time, to be honest. I know I've just obviously mentioned that sometimes the flux tiles are indoors, but usually the buildings play a lot more of a...
For me, I didn't feel there was enough object cover in the buildings. There was very open. So why would someone want to be in there if it's just an open field to get shot in?
Since the last time we went, they've opened a couple of the buildings out because the little sort of gap in the back of that building that you shot me through, that wasn't there last time we went. Or if at least if it was, I don't remember it being there.
Was
it?
He hasn't added any more cut throughs.
Okay, so there are areas where it feels like the buildings are. I don't know. Yeah, I don't remember that being there, but it obviously was. But the Big Six particularly, the buildings tend to be more important. And I think with the way Spartan played pushback, you were stopping people getting in the building rather than pushing out. And that brought them in a little bit more. But I think that's one of the tweaks that Adam can potentially bring in to make it better. But I agree. I don't think the buildings were as much of a place to defend, if you like, in this
they weren't in CQB either. Normally, that middle room is a lot more heavily contested. But again, that was just game times. But no, I really enjoyed it. Other than the end of Gear Killer, but like I say, we know why. Gear wise, everything worked. I had no failures.
I had a few jams with. I think it was
there's footage of you trying to jam your PP.
Yeah, the blue darts would
yes, they're not designed for that. They're designed for flywheels.
And at that point,
they don't work in Hugo's nailers.
At that point during the day, it was like, right, I've picked darts up, shoved them in my pouch, and they were all a mix and match. So there was ones going through, I'm like, what on earth is going on? And then I think it caused a massive jam to where I'm literally pushing the piston back to get this folded up dart out of it.
There's footage of that.
Hugo basically took my box of sabers down to the thingy bob without realizing I was using sabers all day, which no wonder he was getting perfect shots.
1.3 gram darts through a nailer and an ontos. Every shot I fired from my Outlaw was also a saber dart because I didn't realize it was sabers. I thought they were worker Gen 3s in the red with the orange head. I
just grabbed the box. I just grabbed the box.
And that's fine. I preloaded all my darts. I brought worker Gen 3s in all my Coda mags and the other mags that I'd brought with me. I'd got Vespa mags in my Diana. So they were all fine, but anything that I'd brought in a cylinder, so I hadn't preloaded my Outlaws, so they'd all got saber darts in, which I didn't know until Adam pointed out that Hugo had nicked the saber darts and loaded his Ontos with them. So
and then used them to good effect.
Yeah,
sorry.
You're not really. You aren't, are you?
I gotta be. I'm new to the game. For me, it's darts. Oh look, they work great. Take it.
But yeah, I mean, For the piston pump, the Sabres probably would have been better than the what are they called? Spearmints? Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Spearmints
need to get
works beautiful in a Nightingale,
Yeah.
but it was when they was all mixed and matched in my thing,
Yeah.
and you literally just panic reloading, just getting darts in mags to keep going.
Yeah, you'd have been better with the yellow foam orange tips that I was running, which were the worker Gen 3s. So it is what it is. Pete, your opinion of Dishforth?
It's definitely different. I'd go again, not just literally prepare more for it.
Look forward to a more lighter weather, drier weather.
Yeah.
It plays very different when it's baking sunshine.
Yes.
It really does. Like I said, I brought sunscreen for this event, and
I say we've
very
been
optimistic.
in November when it's meant to be snowing, and it's been sunny and warm.
Well,
I'm even looking at different blasters already as well. Already
the last time I went to Dishforth before this event, I ended up with a trucker's tan because I got my usual purple t-shirt on, and I was just baked from there down, and I'd got shorts on as well. So from sort of below my knee pads to my feet, where my shoes were, I was absolutely baked. So I brought sunscreen intentionally for that perspective.
Yeah.
I just
and
didn't
your
need
Galaxy poncho.
And I brought my Galaxy poncho this time as well, which I still didn't get to use. But yeah, it's one of those. It does play very much different in sun because you're not slipping up the berms and stuff, so you're not worried about that, and you can use electric blasters to great abandon. I think I definitely need to bring my Phoenix 2.0 out next time.
I'm actually looking forward to using my own Seagull next time.
Yeah.
Next one is July.
Unicorn sorted.
Unicorn. I think the unicorns had seen its day for 200 FPS. I think it might just be used for 130.
Unicorn on a 1.8 spring's not too bad. Pete, what blasters are you planning for next time?
Unicorn with a 1.8 spring.
Yeah. Good blaster.
I'm hoping, touch wood, to have a new one. Money providing. I'm not sure what.
He's been very cagey. Should we press him?
No, because it's much more fun to see what he turns up with.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get a slab.
It's worth it.
I love lever action. The stock one that I would always run before I started getting
Slingfire.
Yeah, it was the Slingfire. I just loved it. I mean, I did have to always wear gloves because it would just take the skin off my fingers.
Yeah.
So both myself and Adam have used slabs in games. The only thing I would say is it's slightly slower to reload because you've got that versus
Green Hornet with Slingfire.
And Green Hornet's got one as well. It's a fantastic blaster. It's awesome. Don't take it to Unit 26 because, as I've mentioned before, Unit 26, you are, I need to turn round.
PP for Unit 26.
Wouldn't be a problem with this blaster because it's short as because it's a bullpup. But the other thing is it's slightly longer to reload. It's a fantastic blaster. Everyone should have a slab. I will wax lyrical on Reddit about everyone. Every single person in the hobby should have a slab.
Especially because it's easy to print, it's easy to build.
Yeah, it's not the most practical of blasters. Is the only problem with it.
I need to get a kit for Hugo and give him a slab.
Yeah, get Hugo a slab. Hugo will love a slab.
Just send me the link. I'll try to buy it. Don't.
But yeah, the slab's awesome. But yeah, there are other blasters that work well. I mean, again, heads up.
Ontos.
The Ontos.
It's on the It is.
With that B car, the Ontos. Honestly, it's an absolute monster. It's a brilliant piece of kit. It's light as anything. Pete was rocking a Harrier. This is probably a quarter of the weight of a Harrier.
Yeah, if that.
It's light as hell.
Look into one of those then.
Yeah, the Ergo's brilliant. The Prime is just super light. 200 FPS. It's awesome. Get yourself one of these B cars if you do get one though, because it's really needed.
Is that an Adam custom?
Is it a silly one?
It's based off a silly spigot with a P car with a invented with a beaker. It's on printables. It's an hour print.
I'll be asking for links.
Nine bearings. It is brilliant.
Yeah.
3 of us ran it. 3 of us were getting tags, but we had no right to get.
As I said earlier, fucking lasers. It was just amazing. Just absolutely.
And Tartan's just going, no, he keeps
He
swearing.
swore again.
Just do it as an NSFW. It'll be fine.
It's fine.
Can't hear you. You're muted.
He needs to get a flywheel rev up sound to cover my swear words.
Or a Diana startup sound.
Yeah.
Yep.
Still can't hear you.
You're still muted.
I think that's a karmic thing there because there's like a muted Boneheed there, but it's like a case of yeah, it's fine. Hold on. Oh, they've changed the controls now. Hold on, wait a minute.
We're waiting.
Does anyone have
very
any more
dare
events
you,
after
sir.
July?
Yeah. So when I done this
There's-
recording for episode 20, you could mute somebody and you could unmute them just with one click. They've changed it so that it's in the case of you can mute them, but then you've got to ask them to unmute.
Yeah.
It's like that loses the community value, and it would have worked really well if I hadn't muted myself at the same time. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Basically, what this says is, I'm only vaguely in control of things, which is typically how most things work for me.
I mean, isn't that just how life works in general?
Yes.
To answer Hull Titan's question, there is Foam on Tour presents FIB Takeover on the 11th of July. There is also a Foam on Tour presents FIB Takeover September edition on the 5th of September, both of which I believe are at Dishforth.
Yeah, I
And
saw
they
them
will
earlier
both
on
be
Discord.
they'll both be 200 FPS events. So you can take whatever it is that Pete's planning to bring, and you can also bring your Seagulls, your Harriers, your PPs.
Well,
I would recommend, if you are bringing the PP, I would recommend the
spring.
the higher
Spring
FPS
for
spring.
the lower barrel.
It's literally you unscrew a screw, you take your buffer off, your stock end off,
Mhm.
you unscrew the end, you take the spring out, you put the spring back in, you put everything back in. It takes 2 minutes. Mine's hitting 200 FPS, firing lasers because again, it's
I spent more time trying to find
BGUK.
a set of pliers that could put down the end to twist it than actually doing the rest of the swapping over.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a much more complicated job to do so. It was genuinely like you could do this between rounds if you wanted to.
Tell
so
me
you
you've
could
got sausage fingers without telling me you've got sausage fingers.
I'll look forward to doing that for you then, Josh.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Yeah, the July one isn't unfortunately no, because my wife will not allow me to do it on my daughter's birthday. So that is definitely a no.
I'll bring your daughter along. She can get her first
no.
200 FPS experience.
No, she would not. She would not appreciate. She'd appreciate shooting people, just not appreciate getting shot at. So
There's often the way of things there. Right. I am going to call tonight's episode to a close as Sarah is needing my attention for something. So with that, I will say thank you to all of my guests there. This has been episode 21. I have no idea what we're
Except
going to
me.
do. I was trying to be polite. Okay. You are
You keep inviting me back, mate. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, it's to reiterate an error phrase, I keep trying to fight against the definition of insanity. I keep inviting you on thinking that somehow you're not going to be you, and then somehow you keep disappointing me. And
I haven't mentioned trees so far.
That's because there wasn't anything in it.
Thank you for showing
tree.
me one modicum of restraint that you've exhibited this episode. Thank you for that. Okay. Right. In fact, no, to be honest, I was going to just simply say that if it was because I'm so busy just now with the end of module assignments there, I was just going to drop this straight off onto YouTube after recording it. But now that we're actually going to include the photographs, I will actually do the editing on that there. So yes, that's with that. But yes, thank you everybody for joining me for tonight's episode. Episode 22 will be whatever. I don't know. Maybe who knows? Whatever. Good night.